Yes, guys, welcome back to the Cannon podcast and welcome to TCP Live, the first CannonPod Live, fully, exclusively, only on the CannonPod channel. I'm here. My name is, for some reason it isn't showing, but my name is... What? My name is... No, I've changed it so people can see the background. Why can't I? Oh, here we go. My name's Jason Donovan. Your name is...
Actually, I changed my mind's a disgrace, actually. Now that you've got yours on.
Your name is Disgrace. And we're back. We're back with the podcast. Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for being here. Happy Thursday. I hope you're all very, very well. Hello in the comments. Thanks. Yeah, we should talk about the thumbnail. The thumbnail is insane. They're done by Alex Forder. You can check out Forder on football. It's unbelievable. He's absolutely done you.
He's absolutely done me. I feel like I'm getting ripped to pieces on this one guy who has seen me at Euston Station, and I'm sure he's a very good guy. But he's just said, "Oh, I saw you at Euston Station, no taller than 5'3". That is outrageous." And I was wearing Air Maxes as well.
It's an incredible narrative. It happened like 3 months ago as well. The fact that it stuck around. It's a testament to how short you are. Do you know what I mean? That it sticks around. And we've also got someone made this week of you. Let me just get it up properly. It's actually the background, but I'm going to share it properly. Let me just share my screen. 2 seconds. What do you think of this? What do you think of that?
I mean, can I give an opinion on, because with it being my face, can I really give an opinion?
What do you mean? Can you give an opinion if it's your face? I
feel like you should rate it.
Oh, it's a horrible thing to look at. Yeah.
I'm a bit scared.
Horrendous. Yeah. It's really, truly awful. Do you know the film? You Don't Mess with the Zohan?
No, I've not seen it.
You never seen it?
No, I've not seen it. No.
It's a work of art. Someone on our Discord made it. If you want to join our Discord, you can. I know a hack to join our Discord for free, but I'm not going to tell people. People can work it out. It's really easy.
I know as well.
Yeah, exactly. You can probably work it out. Welcome to the CannonPod Live. Thanks everyone for being here. As always, we're still sort of settling into the CannonPod show. So this is one of the many things that we're doing on the Cannon podcast. If you want serious discussion, we did like a properly serious thing about City the other day. If you want breakdowns, you can go on the Monday show. We've got some new shows coming up. We're trying to put together a data review. There's loads of stuff on the Cannon podcast. This is just an opportunity for a bit of fun on a Thursday evening, more relaxed show, isn't it, Rohan? Isn't it, Disgrace?
It's a delightful show. It's a delightful show. We get into the nitty gritty of the analysis. We talk about random topics that we just don't initially foresee, but we just let the wind take us where it needs to.
Someone said to me the other day, "Can you put with timestamps on TCP Live?" I was like, no. I refuse. How can you timestamp what? 1 minute 20 dating advice. What 1 minute 30 calling Rohan short. 3 minutes Rohan looking at pressing structures. Like, what am I going to do? I'm not doing that. George, this week. So this week I was teaching George. I can teach George nothing about football, but my lesson, my aim in life, and I know he's laughing at me right now, is to get this man tech literate. He was filming.
He's not that bad. He can't be that bad.
Like this. Like your mum on a video call. Does that not annoy you?
No, that's not that bad.
I'm such a stickler for it.
You're being pedantic.
I'm being pedantic, and I love it. I just want to take the piss out of George. Hi, George.
Has George streamed live on his own before and has had it upload, etc.? Has he done that before?
No, I don't know. He might have done at some point.
So he is tech literate then.
Yeah, true. To be fair, he cooks.
So I think it is my chair. Actually,
I think it is your chair. I think it is your chair.
It is.
It's disgraceful. Okay, big show tonight. We want to talk Arsenal's new training range, most importantly. We want to talk Leicester. We want to talk PSG. We want to talk Šeško. We want to talk mid-game interviews. Because it'll be funny. I want to talk about Thomas Partey. I want to talk about Ødegaard and the sort of the sample that we have without Ødegaard and how we sort of cope without him, and a sort of a conversation around that. But let's get into it. Should we start? Where do you want to start? PSG, Leicester?
Maybe a
Yeah,
chronological order. Leicester.
by the way, yeah, I'm
Oh,
wearing.
Leicester.
I don't know why I'm wearing this shirt.
I know.
I'm wearing the ultimate. Rohan said my shirt was woke. A woke shirt. I'm wearing the ultimate working from home outfit tonight. Trackies and a shirt.
That is extremely work for me.
Why is this shirt woke?
I just didn't expect it. I feel like it's just a little bit different. It's a different type of shirt, isn't it?
Different.
Yeah, I thought, with a shirt, I don't know, I just associate a shirt always with like a white shirt. And then I just saw that and I thought, that's different. Although I think I have a similar shirt to that actually in my wardrobe. I think I do.
I don't think I've
I'll send
ever
a
seen you
picture.
wear a shirt in my life.
I have on my Insta pics.
Yeah? Where? It
And
is
you
your
certainly
chair. You need a new chair. It's not the
Okay,
mic,
right.
it's not the computer. It's your chair.
Right, I can stop. If I stop rocking, I'll be all right.
Yeah, you'll be all right. You'll be all right. Whereabouts? Where have you worn a shirt?
I wore it to
Right, your
Marbella.
graduation. That doesn't count.
No, I wore it to Marbella. I wore one to Marbella. I wore one to Albufeira.
Oh yeah. Okay, I see that. But I'm
Yeah.
talking long sleeve shirt.
Oh, long sleeve. Oh.
A long sleeve shirt.
Not too keen on long sleeve shirts, to be honest.
Why not?
It's just not my vibe, I don't think.
Okay.
Unless it's smart.
People are screaming at us to talk about football. Let's do it. PSG, let's start there. Oh, actually, no, we just got a super chat. Let's just go there. Dial Square, thank you so much. You seen what Rudiger said about Saliba? I'm scared. Yeah, Rudiger actually praised Saliba and Gabriel, which is nice.
Yeah. And I think it's so I tweeted out and I said where I think the elite players always do acknowledge Saliba over the years, but it's Gabriel who I don't think has been given the recognition that he deserves, barring the past year. I think over the past year, we've started to see him get real recognition from the best players. And it's really good to see because when I look at Gabriel and I look at Arteta's tenure, we always focus on Arteta and the journey and the process, but Gabriel was his first major signing and he's gone through all the highs, he's gone through all the lows. We've seen multiple red cards from him. We've seen multiple rash mistakes from him. But through that process, through that journey, he has now became one of the top tier centre-backs in world football. And it's really good to see the very best talk about it. And I know I bark about it a lot in terms of cooperative superiority, but I always look at Arsenal and Arteta in terms of looking to the idea of our football is to always look to gain an advantage of some sort. And when I look at Saliba and Gabriel, the fact that they've been able to play so many games over 2 successive seasons together, not missing many, barring Saliba, obviously, towards the back end of 22-23, that has allowed them to develop this level of synergy and this chemistry. And that's where I look at cooperative superiority, because it's effectively a superiority that gives us the advantage against the opponent because of how good they are together. And whether it's in the press, whether it's in deeper phases, in box defending, etc., they give us so much. And everyone is acknowledging just how good they are. And it's nice to see Gabriel being given a lot more credit. He was given it, I'd say it's been about a year. I don't agree with people saying, "Oh, Gabriel still doesn't get the recognition," but I'd say before the past year.
I think he's still. There's recognition, but I said this in a TDK video. There's recognition, and then there's recognition outside of the pairing. The problem is his recognition comes alongside Saliba, so he's getting recognition. But my point is, it's always like I listened to the Atalanta game, and I made this point in a main channel video. If you listen to the Atalanta game, when Saliba does something great, it's unbelievable. Saliba, wow, what a player! But when Gabriel does something, it's what a great pairing they are. That's the thing. So he gets his flowers, but he doesn't quite get it individually. And Dial Square makes a point about, in terms of I'm scared, in terms of where Saliba might go. Look, I genuinely, at the moment, I don't know why anyone would leave. Like, I really don't. Like, and even if we didn't win a Premier League this season, I wouldn't be worried. I think if we had another year, I would be worried. But I'm not worried this year. I'm not worried this year.
I'm not worried because we're going to win it.
Oh, yeah. And we are going to win the league. But I honestly think I'd be more worried if we won something big. That's at the point where you start going, okay, players might then think we've kind of done what we need to do. I think yeah. Did you see what Mikel Merino said this week about like the difference and sort of what's going on? He's like, there's such a winning mentality there. And like we're doing things that are very, very different. I think I get the sense that people are locked in on this project. Like, we have to win with Arsenal. I don't think anyone's thinking. So I think if we say yeah, as I say, maybe by next year, people might start having conversations and bids might start to happen or whatever things might start to happen. But I honestly would be more worried if we won something this year, but a huge bid coming in and someone going. That's genuinely how I feel.
I think I'd say I'd be more worried if I'm talking about being worried. I'd be more worried if we didn't win it and then leaving, because I think
Well, you're wrong because it's not subjective.
Oh, yeah. I think it's a case of, I'm not worried about the situation, but what I will say is, when we look at it, maybe from a player's perspective, and I don't look at it from this perspective, but that will be 3 years and let's say Arsenal don't get over the line. That could be in the back of players' thoughts in terms of, can we ever really get over the line? So, and I also think regardless of the situation at a club, let's say Arsenal win the Premier League this season, Real Madrid is the pinnacle of football, and it is the pinnacle of football for a lot of players as well. And I think when they do come calling, sometimes it's very difficult to stop a player from moving, and that's always in the back of fans' minds. But at the same time, we'd rather be in this position.
For sure.
In the past, we would never be in this position of being worried about our best players leaving to these elite clubs because we just run at the level, so it's
the job we need to do now, in my opinion, is position ourselves. So if that happens, then we're okay, and however it happens. This is the thing is I look at Liverpool, the fact that it's not Klopp's fault, but the fact that let's just put it, say, Liverpool are in this situation where Trent, Salah and Van Dijk are all there and all could potentially leave. That's criminal. That's genuinely criminal to be in that situation. And you can't put yourself in that situation. You might be able to get out of it. You might be all right just because of the way things fall. But to put yourself in that situation is genuinely criminal. So if there's a sense of, if there's no control over, Saliba's contract or whatever, look, Saliba, I'm in no way suggesting I want Saliba sold. But if we have to sell Saliba, then I want there to be a plan in place that's like, okay, this is how we'd, sort of manage that and deal with that.
No, definitely. And I just think I don't think we'll ever see ourselves.
I'm going to do up a button. I feel like there's too many buttons.
I think maybe it's a little bit too much for an initial TCP live. As we get more comfortable,
maybe yes.
As we marinate,
9 PM, it just goes down.
It's like on TV. It's like on TV's not a BBC where it just
post Watershed.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
but I just don't believe we will ever get ourselves in a situation that Liverpool find themselves in right now. Because if you look at the fundamentals of how we operate now under this new regime, it is not allowing players to run down their contract in the final year. So I think if it comes to a situation where we aren't able to tie them down, I think Arsenal will probably look to make the difficult call of moving them on because that's the best way to operate. And this is where I always think as you get better, you have to start making more difficult decisions, unfortunately, because these players, right, they're big players and they'll have agents, they'll have family, etc., in their ears saying stuff that it can influence stuff. But I don't want to think about that anyway. No, I don't. I think I see Arsenal winning the Premier League in May. Me and you, we're at that parade.
Oh, we're there.
Everyone's signed a new deal.
Oh my God. We finally settled the height debate.
You are a little bit taller. I've always said that you are, but it's only a fraction. It's only a fraction.
No, I'm a lot taller,
and you have hair tags.
That photo will be edited. I will make you look tiny. Look, I genuinely do believe, especially considering what's going to happen to City this season, or what might happen to City this season, that we have a free run. But obviously, people have different expectations and people have different ambitions of their career. Some people might go, if I can keep winning Premier Leagues and Champions Leagues or whatever I want to be at Arsenal, I'll stick around. I just want us. I'm so keen for us to get part, and this is why I'm kind of pushing through certain narratives. I'm so keen for us to establish ourselves. I'm telling you, mate, I live in London. Arsenal are currently the biggest. You see Arsenal, maybe it's just because I'm looking through Arsenal goggles. The amount of Arsenal shirts I see at the moment. There's so many people, mate. Honestly, it's everywhere. South London, North, East, wherever you go, there is Arsenal. And Arsenal have a massive opportunity to establish themselves as the club in London. The club. Yes, there's going to be other clubs, of course, but the London club, right? In the same way that Madrid, Real, when we say Madrid, we know who we mean. I want to be that club. And I think we have an opportunity with this current crop to do that. So I want us to make the strategic moves. I want us to make the big investments. I want us to make the stadium investments. Make hay while the sun shines. That is, and not to be in that position where we have been for so many years, where if Henry goes, or if Van Persie goes, or if Fabregas goes, I want it to be like Saliba's gone, big miss, but we can still compete. We can still compete, and that's where I want us to be. And But I don't think everyone. I think subconsciously, not everyone agrees with that. Genuinely, because there's certain things that people disagree on. That no, I don't want Arsenal to be that, and I'm like, no, I want us to be that.
Yeah, it's actually crazy because every time you leave your house and you go, I don't know, to the city centre of London, etc. Whatever part of London there is, I think you always see at least 1 or 2 Arsenal shirts. Always, like one or two at least. And
Not where you live.
Sorry, not where I live. but when you go to every time I go to London, even if it's on a non-match day, I always see at least 1 or 2 Arsenal shirts. At least, I don't necessarily always see Chelsea shirts and other London clubs. That's generally not my bias. Genuinely, you don't like. For example, when I go to India, I always see Man United shirts. I don't see many Arsenal shirts. I always see Man United shirts. So it's just we are massive. We are massive.
We're massive. And Karen, thank you so much for becoming a YouTube member. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Loads of people signing up on Patreon, YouTube and stuff recently. Really appreciate it. We're cooking. The cannon's cooking. More importantly, before we talk football again, training range.
I've not even seen this.
We're gonna rate the fits.
All right. Okay,
Big fan of this jacket.
Yeah, I like that jacket.
Like the jacket. Don't like the shirt.
No, don't like it.
Not fan of the shirt.
It's giving me very West Ham vibes there as well.
8 out of 10. I'd say the shirt looks like a sort of worse version of our red training kit from last year. And I don't like this. Why have you got such a big? Why have I got like a palace on my top? I don't want it.
It's emphasizing 1886. We were founded, Alexander.
Like it. Is that Herbert Chapman?
Zoom in.
Not sure on that one. That's just a bit basic, really.
It's a bit casual. It's giving me Netflix vibes.
Do you know what's so funny is there's some people who, because I've been on a few things now, people think I'm like paid by Arsenal or Sky and stuff. Arsenal haven't asked me to do this to be absolute. I just realized some people are going to be like,
I've seen the comments.
Promoting it on the show. Shut up. J'adoro Arsenal. I mean, I like Arsenal. That jacket is just really nice. I might £350. Oh my god!
350 quid. Oh god.
£200. Who's got that money, bro?
You do, Alexander.
That's quite a nice. Is it a nice shirt? Quite like a pink.
No, I'm not too keen. Pink can work, but I just don't think
for sweatpants. 190 for a win. Nah, I'm done. I hadn't seen the.
It's gone too woke. It's gone too woke.
It's all gone woke. It's all gone woke. It's all gone woke. This is where I need to call my Arsenal brand guy and tell him that the deal's off. I've stopped promoting.
Sorry.
No, I'm not doing that. I wanted to rate all the fits, but how much is that?
We got a few though. We got a few. Okay. I didn't like that West Ham type one. Didn't like.
What's acceptable for a shirt? What are you paying for a shirt? Max, you're paying for a shirt.
But are we talking big brands, or are we willing to go to the big brands?
Shirt. The max you pay, the range of outcomes for a shirt.
Max 40 quid.
No, if it's a nice shirt, you sort of dress shirt. Do you know what I mean?
Not
60. I reckon.
Unless it's the big brands. And this is the
60 quid probably is the max that I'd pay for a shirt. Pair of trousers.
Max. Oh, it's been a while since actual suit trousers or.
It's just a fun game. It doesn't need to be. It's not.
What do you mean, like jeans or
a pair of trousers?
35.
35.
Yeah, max though, max.
TK Max. Pair of shoes.
I don't know what the prices are these days in terms of smart shoes, but in terms of like trainers,
pair of trainers.
Trainers are one of my favorite things. Genuinely,
okay.
I think I've got 15 Nike pairs.
Okay.
I'll go towards 200.
£200 for a pair of trainers.
I love my trainers.
You'll pay £35 for a shirt and £200 for a pair of trainers.
I absolutely love trainers.
And you must be getting a nice one because you're shopping in kid sizes. So you're People in the chat saying it's woke. People saying
200.
£200.
I'll go to 200 on trainers.
£200.
I'll go to 200 on trainers. If it's a pair I really like, I'll go 200.
What? Where? Which pair of trainers would you buy for £200?
I really like going like JD and looking at the latest the new, what's the word? What's that word?
Things that have come out. Well, I don't know. The
release? But there's a more like
drops, a bit like colorways and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, bro, have you got that in the Ice Spice colorway? Oh, bro, have you got that in the Stormy Daniels colorway?
Stormy Daniels, yeah. New releases. That's it. New releases. Sorry.
New releases. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, Kieran. Thank you.
Cheers, Kieran. Right, should we talk football?
Can we talk about Leicester first? Not gonna lie.
Yeah. Well, you want to?
Honestly, I was.
Go on. How was it, first and foremost?
Okay, so I was near Faisal and Yem, right? And they both. Yem came to me like, it was during the game when we scored the third goal, which was obviously basically the winner. And when it went to 2-2, I wasn't looking at anyone, so I'm always in a world of my own, and I'm like constantly moving around. And Yem said, like, your face at 2-2. They turned around, they looked at me, and like I was chewing my gum so aggressively. I was like disgusted. But honestly, the winner and the atmosphere, I don't like that sort of tension. But you know when it happens, when you get that winning goal in the dying embers, it slaps like nothing else. Honestly, it slaps like nothing else. And honestly, I hurt my foot as well because Yem was grabbing me, Faz was grabbing me, and they were like 2 rows lower, and I pulled my a muscle on my foot, and that really hurts now. But
you pulled a muscle in your foot. What, from celebrating?
Yeah. Some celebrating. Really? Yeah. And, but genuinely, yeah.
No, I was just gonna say, I think what's a shame about that game is that it was we were so good. I think there's loads of like numbers in terms. I think we would create like 5 XG or something. Leicester create like 0.2 post shot XG or something. Like it's just unbelievable. Like in terms of the amount of the volume of chances, the quality of the chances. Well, no, not necessarily actually volume, maybe not, but quality of the chances that we had were huge. Breaking them down.
Volume of chances as well, Alex. Volume of chances
maybe,
as well.
But I also thought like the second half, it just shows you in the Premier League, even a tiny step back can kill you. And this is the thing, Arteta always says, like, this is why you have to be at it from minute one. Because I just felt the opening 10 minutes of that second half, we just sat back a little bit. And then there's a deflection and an absolute wonder goal. And you're looking at, okay, well, City have dropped points. We absolutely can't. And all the narratives are running through your head and you're panicking. I actually, I prayed to the Lord that set piece would go in. I genuinely did. I like, not even as like ironic. It was a genuine prayer for that to go in.
But honestly, like I said it after the game. Now, obviously, I'm a firm believer that there is stadium tax in terms of when you watch your team because you aren't able to see everything, and there are certain things that cloud your judgment. But I came out of it and I tweeted immediately. I felt like it was one of our best attacking performances under Mikel Arteta in his tenure. Genuinely.
Oh, nice. I was that you were right. Yeah.
And I was like, I'd need to rewatch it back again just to confirm what I felt in the game. But the keeper made the most saves in a Premier League game since 2017. And that, ironically, was David De Gea against us as well. That gives you the level of dominance that we had in the game. And what I really want to focus on, actually, and we can kind of take this into the PSG game as well, is how Calafiori has created an immense ripple effect to the left-hand side. The level of maximizing others that he has given, both Martinelli and Declan Rice, is phenomenal. Where the variety in terms of the zones that he's able to operate in, the flexibility, he's allowed Martinelli to receive more touches higher up as opposed to coming deep to receive back to goal. And that's the other thing where I mentioned it in the previous stream, and I've also shared videos on Pep Guardiola talking about how the importance of having a natural footer on the left-hand side or a right foot on the right-hand side to progress play and build up. Because what it does allow you to do is when you have, and Mikel Arteta actually mentioned it, when you have inverted midfielders or inverted wingers, essentially midfielders and wingers on their wrong foot, like a left winger with his favoured foot being his right foot, and likewise a left central midfielder, his favoured foot being his right foot. Having someone like Calafiori, a left footer, allows that player to receive facing goal as opposed to receiving back to play. It's so key in terms of the fluidity at which you're able to operate in, but also the fact that they're always able to give you that width on the overlap as well when they come inside. And what I like about Calafiori in terms of what he's done to Declan Rice, and if you notice Declan Rice's last 2 games and the levels that he's reached, he's raised them, it's because he's been able to receive so many more touches deeper outside of the block. And also, he's been that first receiver when Thomas Partey has dropped into the back line situationally on the right side. And that's really helping Declan Rice, because for me, the way that we've deployed him so far this season, prior to Calafiori's inclusion, and also Ødegaard, our right side number 8, we push them really high between the lines. And when you do that, and against the types of teams that we play against, these mid blocks, primarily so far this season, is that they're not going to be able to be as involved in the game because they're sandwiched between the midfield and defensive lines. You want to get these guys on the ball, especially Declan Rice and also Ødegaard. They're maximised when they are having a lot of touch on the ball. And Declan Rice notched 100 plus touches in the game against Leicester. You know, we've not seen that for a while from Declan Rice, you know. And you can obviously apply the tax of it being Leicester, etc. But we are seeing so much more from Rice when he's playing on that left side now, where I've always felt he's maximised on as a number 6, so effectively more towards our right. But if we're going to play him in left central midfield, nominally, I want him to be able to have more of an influence in build-up. And then when he's crashing the box, he's arriving from deep as opposed to being sandwiched high and then attacking across. So Calafiori's done so much in possession for us. It's great.
It's huge. And just to bring it to the tactics board a second, actually, if I pull up, let's say, Zinchenko and Tommy, maybe, or actually, let's do Timber and Zinchenko. I think the thing for me, it's the knock-on effect and the ripple effect of having. So let's pull Calafiori out for a second. Actually, no, let's start with Zinchenko. In terms of the knock-on effect of what it can do for a fullback, when Zinchenko comes inside, firstly, it limits Gabriel's touches. Gabriel had 96 or 97 touches against Leicester. And that's because naturally Zinchenko wants to pull inside and it automatically knocks Gabriel into the second line. So Zinchenko is at his best when if you want Zinchenko to be effective, he's going to be facing play and Gabriel's going to be out of play. So it kind of knocks him out of the game a little bit. Zinchenko in these positions is constantly shepherded out of play. I don't think I've ever seen Zinchenko beat someone on the overlap. He can pull out to these areas. I'm not saying he can't, but if he's attacked in terms of and sort of forced, forced wide, he will always be beaten out here. The ability to, the whole thing about using the touchline as the final defender. Yeah. I feel like other teams completely know that was Zinchenko, and he's always forced backwards. So you kind of lose that a little bit. And then obviously coming forward in these sorts of areas, this is why I don't love this idea about Zinchenko being a left 8 or being push further forward. I kind of see it in the Ødegaard role on the right because he can drop out of the block. But on the left, if he's up sort of tight playing those balls in, apart from maybe that ball to was it Jesus against Leicester, ironically, 2 years ago, that ball over the top, I don't think I've seen him do anything from this sort of space, genuinely. Yeah. And obviously, Zinchenko has a lot of qualities, and I'm not saying he can't do other stuff, but that's his limitations. With Timber, he naturally wants to come inside, which is fine, but it has that same issue with Gabriel. He doesn't have that strong foot overlap on the left, although I think he probably would be able to beat someone on the left. But yeah, again, he hasn't got the strong foot. I think he can pull out wide. I think he's absolutely fine. But Calafiori has everything. He's got the strong foot overlap. I don't know if he's the quickest, but that doesn't really matter. If you're resting in these sorts of areas, say your line is here, say Gabriel and Saliba pushed up, we're trying to break down a low block. If you're resting, you don't need someone. You don't need Hakimi. You just need somebody who can go out there on the strong foot overlap. That's often where we are. He can obviously come inside. And what I've been really impressed with, mate, is I thought once in here be a bit more angle biased. But did you see some of those balls he's playing like that with right foot to Martinelli? I'm going, honestly, that's crazy. Yeah. Just finishing on this, sorry. On the underlap with Calafiori, he can do that. He can go on the overlap. He can pull out wide, which gives Gabriel more touches. He can pull inside. The lack of limitation, he's good. He can do everything. And when you compare that to other options, it means it lifts the Martinellis, the Gabriels, and the Rices as well. And finally, if you get Merino in, the thing with Rice, he's brilliant. He has his own qualities that would bring ahead of Merino in terms of maybe not counter pressing, but in terms of maybe threats in sort of attacking the box a little bit more, sort of maybe shots from distance as well compared to Merino. We know he can't quite do that work in terms of going out. Well, it's not his most comfortable stuff. And I think his sort of chemistry with Martinelli on this side isn't fantastic. But if we can create this the options we have on that left-hand side is absolutely crazy in terms of pulling out wide, in terms of Calafiori in the underlap, in terms of Merino dropping back in terms of Gabriel stepping up, Calafiori. You can do this all day. And the quality that Martinelli has, and as you say, it means he receives the ball like that, as opposed to over here receiving it like that.
Yeah.
And it's
But also it's preventing Martinelli from receiving a lot deeper and back to play. And this is what I was mentioning with and when people were talking about initially when the season started, it was Timber, Rice, and Martinelli. I'd say if you'd asked 100 Arsenal fans, 80 or 90 would have said that is our best left-hand side. But I pushed back on that massively because you've got 3 right footers who are all effectively going to look to come inside. Timber, when he goes on the overlap, he can do it. But effectively, when he goes down the byline, he'll always want to check back with his right foot, and it slows down the speed of that action and the process. And I want to actually, and with the Calafiori thing, actually, that you mentioned, in terms of his two-footedness, that is something that I clocked on when I was watching the Bologna games in terms of his ability to kind of open up the game both ways. And that level of unpredictability has unlocked so much to this team. And I don't know if you saw the Arteta quote after the game. I've got it here. And he mentioned on Calafiori post PSG is that he has the capacity to occupy different spaces really comfortably. And he's already done that in Italy. And that's why we signed him. And this is why I talk about transferable qualities and how the learning that he did under Thiago Motta and the level of under Thiago Motta, his side in Bologna, I've not watched his Juventus team so far, but it has to be so flexible in terms of the positions that they occupy and build up to kind of dismantle how teams press them. And I know I mention it a lot, his thesis, but I have got an interesting quote here from it that I wanted to share. And it's about it's in the period of the paper where he talks about the tactical side of the game. Let me land. I need to get it up first. Oh, where is it? Where is it? Here we go. You wake up right now. You wake up right now.
I'm in.
But in Thiago Motta's thesis, he explains the concept of technical confidence. And what he says is technical confidence in possession of the ball is effectively being able to create passing lanes or show themselves in open spaces in all elements. Calafiori exemplifies
that. 360 football.
Yeah, exactly. And it's about finding progression in any given way. And you're able to do that when you have someone who can pop up out wide, who can pop up in the number 10 position, who can pop up false 9. And a couple of pictures I got from the PSG game will kind of show this. He's comfortable in wide build-up. He's comfortable in deep build-up when he's constrained a little bit wider as a natural left back. So much. He offers so much, and he's generally unlocked us in possession-wise. And obviously there are certain things out of possession that I think both me and you, we have spoke about it before in terms of the over-aggressiveness, but he's not a complete player. But what he's offering this team right now, it's ridiculous. Andre,
new CannonpodPod idea. Rohan explains the thesis. We are going to get Rohan and George at some point to do. Probably there's a CannonPod in like 3 weeks that I can't do, as in a TCP live. So you guys can do that, and I'll dip out. All them all to sleep. Cesar. This is a bit. I genuinely think it's quite interesting. I've just sort of given.
I know.
I've just committed to the bit now.
You can't go back now.
Yeah, I can't go back on the bit. Cesar, thank you so much for the super chat. Really appreciate it. I missed it, so Rohan has saved us. Which 3 Arsenal players would you trust to prep you for a date? Surely Jorginho for his class. I think Jorginho, Calafiori as well. To be clear, I think the Italians.
He needs to get himself married or whatever immediately, because I do not want to hear anything. I do not want to hear anything in the papers. I don't want to hear anything. London,
do you know what Raya is? The dating app, is it not the keeper? The dating app.
No.
Raya. So it's like a celebrity dating app, but basically you have to get approved. You have to I think you have to show you have followers, or you have to show like your profile or whatever.
Oh, really?
But it's like a celebrity dating app.
Yeah.
So I was about to make a joke about how I'm on it, but the problem is it's so stupid that it would just look like I'm bragging, and anyway. I'll move on. It's a joke. But yeah, Mikel will put him straight on that. I guarantee he'll be locking him down. He'll be going, right, you come in here, get on the dating app. I'm coming on your date. I'm going to sit next to you like this, and you're marrying her within the year.
I don't want to hear anything. Honestly, Italian. Look at him. London, one of the most visited cities in the world. I do not want to hear anything. I don't want. Please.
I think Jorginho is a good shout. I think Calafiori is a good shout. I think he'd give you a little bit of confidence. I think maybe Martin Ødegaard for a little tactical talk just beforehand. Yeah. And also, I think he dresses quite well as well.
I would have said Granit Xhaka if he was still here.
Xhaka?
Yeah. I reckon.
To prep you for a date?
I reckon Stressed.
Jack is the sort of person who turns up at a date with like a list of questions, like on his phone.
I reckon.
Do you know what
I
I
reckon with Declan Rice, it would just be like full on cringe.
Yeah.
Just
Oh,
cringe
bro,
advice.
you're just bro. Nah, sacks.
Did you see that
me and
Saka and
Sacks the same,
Saka?
bro.
Did you see that McGregor and Saka
Yeah.
clip? I
McGregor.
was thinking, right. I was thinking, now calm down. He was getting a bit aggressive there at one stage.
Yeah. Dial Square, thank you for your super chat. Notice more switches by Rice and Saliba from deep.
Yes, and also I've got the stats on that from FB Ref that I tweeted out post Leicester because I think it's been quite apparent that we've seen so many more switches, and statistically so far after 6 games we're fifth for in terms of the volume of switches, and I think for me you can't draw massive conclusions because the sample size is small. However, what I will say is that number would be even bigger had we not played effectively 90 minutes of football down to 10 men, and there's a real intent to kind of that classic principle of overload, cram to one side, then switch it to the far side and underload and free your winger 1v1 against the fullback. And it's been really good to see. It's something that is, for me, a mid-block killer, and we've not utilised enough of last season. So when I'm talking about improvements going into this campaign, this was a massive one. And I saw it in pre-season. We're seeing it in the league. Can't make major conclusions yet, but it is encouraging, so...
This is the numbers. So we're up at 16 switches. Let me just change that to per 90. I'm just going to change it to per 90. Toggle per 90. We're at 2.67 switches per 90, which is 5th in the league. And just to go back to last season, so you can all see the difference.
So
we're backing ourselves up with stats and facts.
We were
67. Down 3rd from bottom. We were 3rd from bottom. Can you see that?
Yeah, I can see that.
There we are. We're 3rd from bottom, switches 1.71 switches per 90. So yeah, it's changed.
But I think if you look at the number of switches we actually completed last season, I think it's like 60 odd, which is crazy.
Yeah, so what's that? Not per 90. 65.
Yeah, 65 the entire season.
So 65 in the entire season and 16 after. Hang on, so let me just do the maths. So we were doing. Just get my calculator out. This is top class entertainment. So we did 65 in 38 games, which is 1.7 per 90, obviously. I'm literally doing the maths that they've
I'm an idiot.
I'm an idiot. I'm actually an idiot. I'm doing the maths they've already done.
I thought you were going to extrapolate this season to 38 games.
I'm an idiot. I'm an actual idiot. I looked at the per 90 stats and then went, why don't I work out the per 90?
Basically, we're on course to doing 100 plus switches so far this season. But it's a small sample size, but it's encouraging. It's okay, Alex. It's okay.
I'm such an idiot. I'm so bad at maths. Like, genuinely.
What did you get in A levels?
I didn't do A-level maths. No chance.
It's not. A-level maths. I
dropped that the moment I could.
A-level maths was
calculator and non-calculator. When am I not going to have a calculator? Can I add? Well, clearly,
you're going to take a calculator. Yes. As long as you can do the basics, you'll be fine.
The basics of maths.
Oh my god, my chair was making a lot of noise.
Have you got another chair? I think it's it's like its own character on the podcast now. We can't.
But I do like it's really comfy.
Okay. PSG. Yes. I was really, really pleased with that first half. I thought we were fantastic. You want to talk about the pressing structures, but just quickly, I was really, really pleased with it. I didn't think Calafiori had the same impact he had against Leicester, but it's a different opposition. I thought Timber had a fantastic game during Timber.
Honestly,
I mean, this is a kind of thing. Maybe we want to talk. I think actually George has mentioned this in terms of like where our star quality or like our sort of impetus comes from, like how we change up games. Is it our fullbacks? Like at this point, certainly.
Yeah. It's our back line for me. It's our entire back line for me. I think we said it in a pod before, and I mentioned it in how if I look at Arsenal's main weapon is the back line, and the word that I use is variety. A variety of tools and skill sets to combat various different game states. And I tweeted out before, I think it was on the Monday actually, where even if Ben White was fit, I wouldn't play Ben White in this game because the game I think requires that 1v1 capability in isolation, but also in the press when the spaces are squeezed. And I think Timber is going to give you more than Ben White in that aspect. Ben White is going to give you more qualities in other aspects than Timber, but that specific game, you need a Timber. And this is what we missed last season as well in many different moments throughout the course of the season. And no one actually talks about it. And we don't necessarily talk about it because, you know, I don't like making excuses, etc. But not having Timber last season had a massive impact on us. And I think the Champions League in particular, I always think at baseline, the Champions League is all about winning your 1v1 battles at baseline. If you forget about everything else against the best teams. And Barcola is one of the top wingers in Europe. He has been for the entire season so far. It's obviously not been many games, but he's a promising talent who has really took off since Mbappe has left. And what he did against him was phenomenal. And the fact that we directed all of our pressure towards Barcola and Timber, and he still wasn't able to get past him is crazy. You know, not a single 1v1 moment Timber was troubled. And Timber's profile, so if you look at his portfolio so far this season, where I'd say he's had some consistent games in possession, but some other games not good. I'd say he's had some good games in possession, but some other games where his influence hasn't been there. But when you talk about out of possession, he's played against Leon Bailey for Villa, neutralised his impact. Minter for Brighton neutralised his impact when they were 1v1 or he was in close proximity to Timber. Then you go to Mavadivi for Leicester, neutralised his impact. I completely butchered that up. I know you clocked on. I thought you would have clocked on as well. Brennan Johnson, who's now 4-4, locked him off. And now has padlocked Barcola as well. This is serious level of quality he's given him. And honestly, crazy.
Mate, he's incredible. Yeah, and I think on that night, considering where PSG were putting their fullbacks and considering they were just allowing Nuno Mendes and Saka quite a lot of time 1v1. You don't always need that overlap. So I probably would have played Timber as well, also in possession. But yeah, I agree with you out of possession. I think it was really important. Dan Farrell. Yeah, Dan Farrell. Thank you so much for becoming a YouTube member. Really appreciate it. Oh, my good man. Question from Kieran52 said, can we get Rohan's thoughts on Kivior versus PSG? I agree with Alex that he played well, but George thought he struggled, which surprised me. Yeah, George said on the Instant Reaction he didn't think Kivior was that great, but I thought it was fine. I thought it was fine. Like, I'm not sat there going, oh, life changed, but it was fine.
I thought he did pretty well defensively. I think there were some really shaky passes at the start. I remember there were a couple which he just ballooned out of play. But I think also we have to consider the fact that Kivior has not had many minutes at all. You know, and it's a difficult game to come into as well against PSG at halftime. And I actually thought out of possession, he didn't get rinsed. He didn't really have a lot of trouble in those scenarios, which I'd say are Kivior's biggest weaknesses: wide 1v1 defending, or just in general in the channels because he's quite slow to turn. But I was actually pretty impressed with Kivior. I thought against Bolton, Kivior started quite poorly, but then grew into it as well. There were a couple of stray passes at the start where he's switching it and it's really lofted. And that's something that Kivior, that's one of the things that we wanted more from Kivior, those switches. When you watched him for Spezia, that was one of his trademark moves. And I felt he was quite inaccurate there, but he grew into that. And I thought he did quite well. And actually, with the injuries that we've sustained in our backline, it's looking like a good thing that we kept Kivior, really.
Back as well. So, and the fact that Mikel's willing to use him there. I think the switches thing, I'd like to see it happen, but, you know, because he was quite Spezial at them.
That's not bad, to be fair.
No, you shouldn't have laughed. You shouldn't have laughed.
So I'm looking to keep you there. I can't bring you
Thanks,
here.
Man. Thanks, man. That's my job, just to undermine you. Yeah, I think. Look, Kivior is our 7th, 8th choice defender. It's fine. Do you know what I mean? And like ultimately, with that level of sort of squad depth and with a player in that sort of position, I expect there to be shortcomings. So I don't think he's particularly confident in possession. I think he's plays it pretty safe. I think he sometimes struggles with his distances. I think he sometimes struggles with confidence. I think he shies into himself. I think there's some stuff about him in the channels and stuff. Fine. I don't think he's absolutely brilliant at right centre back because of the angle bias, but that's not his fault. He's played there. He's fine, but he's our 7th or 8th choice centre back.
Exactly.
We can't have 360-degree perfect duelers, perfect 1v1s in every single case. You know, we're holding to a very, very high standard. Kivior, by the way, would have been our best defender about 3 years ago. So, do you know what I mean? So, like, it's, pre-Saliba and Gabriel. So, like, he is a good player, but that's where he is in the squad. You wanted to talk pressing structures, didn't you?
It's not just pressure, but also the certain triggers, because what I've found, is
Do I
that
go on your
again, it's
burner
quite
account?
geeky on my burner account.
Guys, I've got
It's
access
just,
to Rohan's burner.
it's just my account that I had before this public one. Where just private
How much hate about Rob Holding do you tweet?
Oh my god, I deleted a lot actually back in the day.
Yeah,
some really bad ones. But Socrates as well. Goodness me, Socrates.
You hate that, man.
Socrates was awful. Oh my god, Socrates was awful. And do you know what Socrates?
You don't even try. You just like put letters SPP2 HP.
I've not actually got
P1.
an actual clip, but I just wanted to show something to kind of give you the nominal setup.
Don't get up on your phone.
No, I'm just going to try and find which one it was, what letter.
This one, P1.
Yeah, this is good. This is good. This is the one.
Okay.
We just need to look at this one, and then I'll go through the other thing that I wanted to show. So I think when we look, I don't know if you've seen it, but Roberto De Zerbi there's a little clip of Roberto De Zerbi where he's doing a lecture, and someone's tweeted out a little clip of how he views pressing structures and build up, and how you can kind of understand when you have an advantage or not. So what he does, and what I've always looked at, because it's the easiest thing to do, is that in order for you to see if you have an advantage in your build-up, and what I mean by that is if you have a numerical overload, more players in your half relative to the opposition, just look at the last line. Now, obviously, you can't see the last line here, but in the last line, if the opposition, let's say the pressing team, has an advantage there, so a 4v3, and in this scenario as well, what we have, you can't see it, we have a 4v3 across the back line where we have Gabriel, Saliba, Timber and Calafiori versus the two wingers and the centre forward for PSG. So from our perspective, we have an advantage there across our back line. So what that means is that the opposition have an advantage in their build-up numerically. They will have more numbers. They'll have one additional player excluding the goalkeeper. And what you can see there is the pivot. The pivot is Declan Rice standing effectively kind of in between the two. I've not got the exact frame of him literally between them, but he's going to move in between those two. And I don't know if you remember from the Athletic where they got coaches and analysts to assess Arsenal how they play, and they mentioned how Declan Rice would stand in between a pivot. If an opposition is setting up with a pivot that are within close proximity to each other, Declan Rice will stand in between the two, effectively as kind of bait to play.
And by the way, like how few players can actually do this and do this
exactly
well is huge.
Yeah, exactly. And this is one of the reasons why Declan Rice does play left central midfield, because of his ability in the press. And you can see everywhere else we are going a bit more man to man, but effectively,
sorry, just to cut you off quickly. Yeah. Sorry. Do you think Mourinho can do that? I think he can.
Yes. Yeah. Yep. I think from the clips that I've seen and the numbers and the duels and how quick he is over short distances as well, Mourinho can definitely do this. And it's going to allow Declan Rice to give you more. Declan Rice will effectively in Thomas Partey's position. That's what will happen. And what you see Arsenal do, you don't need to go to the other clip, but Arsenal will always look to, in this game against PSG, direct the pressure towards PSG's left-hand side, because in terms of the left centre-back relative to Marquinhos, he's weaker on the ball, and it's easy to press towards that side. And we effectively lock on, and then we force them to go towards Barcola, and that's where Timber would be really aggressive, and he turn over possession. But that is what we do, and this is where I push back on Arsenal effectively starting like man-to-man. Arsenal start in this type of shape, always. It's very zonal, because we've not gone man-to-man. Declan Rice is effectively marking two players, and everyone else has their own designated.
And so is Partey, to be fair.
Yeah. Yeah, but Partey, what they've done really cleverly here, actually, is PSG were recognising early on that they weren't gaining any sort of success against us. So they pulled their midfielder a little bit wider, if you can see there, whereas the midfielder was actually a little bit more in the half space, where he's a bit more wider to give Partey that dilemma if he wants to empty the midfield. And Saka's in a good position to press Nuno Mendes, but effectively, we're going to direct the pressure towards the left-hand side. But this is what Arsenal do. They are looking... When I look at our press and our intentions, it is to always force the team towards the wide areas, because it's easy to press out wide because players have restricted range of motion, 180 degrees relative to 360, and also to provoke short passes. When you go completely man-to-man, it's kind of forcing the opposition to immediately go long, and that defeats the point of the object of being able to force turnovers high up, because if you force the team to go long, yes, you might win the second ball and you regain possession, but you're not necessarily always going to be able to turn over possession high. And that's where, let me actually show you a quick example from the Leicester game. I know this might be boring to people, but
no.
Just let
which
me, on my
is
account.
it in your account? Which one?
Yes. if you go to the pictures, sorry, you should be able
You've
to.
got Spurs.
No, sorry, my main account.
Hieroglyphics. You got your main account.
Yeah, I can share my screen actually. I can share mine.
Oh, here he is. Take it over.
Oh God, present. Make sure I don't present anything dodgy.
People are saying, is this going to be on the test?
Yes, it is. Oh,
I bet you were the kid who used to be like, "Miss, you forgot the homework." But that was you.
Right, let me actually zoom that in. Can you see that?
I can.
Yeah. So you can see here, very similar scenario. Declan Rice is ready to join, and the pivot, Leicester pivot, he's going to mark and stand between the two. So that's the first clip. And then if I go to the next one, you can see Arsenal directing their pressure to the left-hand side. But what you notice here is the advantage of going a bit more zonal because you're provoking Leicester to play it short into the middle of the park. And here, Leandro Trossard's in a good position to also anticipate and be in a position where he can press the goalkeeper who receives it back and also eliminate Wout Faes from getting on the ball. But also, any sloppy pass there, he can also intervene, which is what you do see when we provoke the left centre-back to play that ball there. He's intercepted play, and then we generate a situation with Martinelli who forces a save. So this is the principle. It's exactly the same as what we did against PSG. Oh, God. Turn that off. Oh, God.
You love that meme.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
I
effectively,
think it's smart.
Yeah. I think it and what I really want to push back is, when we talk about structures and 4-4-2 etc., don't look at it like that. Look at it at what the opposition are doing, where you've seen there's a flat pivot there. But if they're staggering their pivot and they're playing like two natural eights, that's provoking us to go a bit more man-to-man because the distance has become too big for Declan Rice to cover.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to kind of share. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think it's really smart. And I was really surprised that PSG didn't drop anyone further back, specifically their forward. I can't remember his name now.
The PSG one.
They're the number 9. I was shocked they didn't drop him back, but like what the amount they left him on the last line with Saliba and Gabriel, specifically when they were building up, I was going, why?
Yeah, exactly.
He's already a false 90 type. You're not going to win any battles there. I don't think you're quicker than them either. So I'm making the spare man. I was pretty shocked with the Kang Lee. That's his name. Thank you.
Yes. The other one, if you could quickly share, I know we're going really geeky here, and then we'll go into the waffle. But if you go to EG8 and then on my burner.
Oh, this is woke. This is
what's woke?
This is utter woke nonsense. Right, go on.
Right. So what I wanted to show here is the impact that certain triggers have and what the opposition do. So usually what happens is actually, is that the one I wanted? Hold on. Yeah, it is the one. So what happens is, so we can see here in our setup this classic 3 at the back, the wide centre backs being Timber and Gabriel in this case. So what we do here is Timber is staggering backwards, so that's provoking a back pass from Saliba, and that is a classic trigger for the opposition to kind of press, because when you're receiving it with more on the back foot, it's a lot more difficult for you to set yourself. But Arsenal do this intentionally, and that provokes Barcola to press. So then if you go towards the next picture. One of the key triggers, and I want you to keep watching this in future games that we do, is when we provoke the winger to jump on our wide centre back, that is the trigger for our number 8 to drift wide. And the reason why he drifts wide, and actually, by the way, this is really good from Timber because he kind of baits that he's going to pass him immediately. And he just beats him, and then he's created that space anyway. And then he plays it to Havertz, and the central midfielder, the pivot player, which is Vitinha, he has a dilemma. Does he follow him? Does he follow Havertz, or does he stay? If he stays, he's recognizing the fact that he needs to keep compactness, but that allows Kai Havertz to carry it. And then we play it to Saka, and we generate a 1v1 situation. Havertz actually gets this on the underlap, and we nearly create something good. So that's what happens when the central midfielder from the opposition stays.
Yeah, and you're also running into space. I think also it's proof that we trust this pass. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like it's a lot of trust in Timber to, firstly from Havertz, but also from the coach to say, right, we trust you to make that pass either down the line. I mean, Timber just beats him, which is, insane.
But that's an example of the pivot player, which is Vitinha in that case, staying central and not being provoked to follow Havertz. This is a scenario where you see the other thing happen, where the central midfielder actually does follow our number 8. So in this scenario, again, the winger, Duari or Dor, or I don't know how to pronounce his name.
Dor. Desiree Door. Desiree Door. Yep, that's his name. No, that's his name.
Is it? All right,
Mr. Door. Yeah, Desiree Door.
He's actually in. He's not engaging completely to Gabriel, but he's in a position where he's eliminated himself from being able to cut off that pass towards the number 8. And again, Trossard in this case, the number 8, he drifts wide, and what you see here is the centre midfielder jumping. So if you go to the next picture, and it's Zaire Emery, he's jumped. And what that does is it opens up the space centrally. And that is the trigger for Martinelli or Saka to make the out to in run. Maximum to minimum width is the principle that I've learned from reading. Where you start wide and then you come inside and you exploit the center. And notice the space there. Already. If you look at Calafiori, Marquinhos can't jump because if he does, then he leaves that hole for Havertz to exploit. So he has to stay there. And the fullback, Hakimi, has to follow him, who, by the way, is anticipating that ball to go towards the channel. Martinelli is already thinking he needs to go and he's going to exploit the center. So the time in which Hakimi reacts is not quick enough relative to Martinelli. So then he exploits the space. And then we eventually switch it wide to Saka, and he puts his shot just over, I think. But
just to say, this is also the clip of Mikel that goes around when he's teaching in Wales, when he's talking about he's always in his bum, he doesn't know that. That was a great impression. It's the same type of part. It's the Ben White inside pass, but on the other side.
Yeah, and then you can just see in the last few pictures what happened is like you can see Martinelli exploiting the space, and then Saka receives it, and I think he hits this one over. But also notice the potential of the half space cross as well towards the back post where Havertz is there. I think it's Havertz. Yeah.
I mean, this is an insane situation from PSG to lead themselves in. Like
absolutely.
Which is why earlier I said I would have been happy with Timber because you don't need Ben White in this situation.
Yeah. But this is what happens when you provoke jumps. You know, when you provoke jumps and you're forcing teams to come onto you and then you're exploiting that space. And what I really liked is the fact that we're actually playing through pressure. We went long a fair bit, I'd say more in the second half, but I thought we were really brave and we showed a lot of courage to play through their pressure in that first half. We created some really good moments in the game throughout from our deep build-up. So, yeah, I know it's a bit geeky, but
no, it's really interesting. And I think we look at a lot of pressing structures and we look at our build-up, but not necessarily the second phase stuff and what we do in possession and how we break teams down through the thirds. I think it's always interesting to see, and sort of it's always looking for repeated patterns, isn't it? And you can see that, and you see it on both sides, which tells you that it's a repeated pattern. George is annoyed at Desiree Door.
I know. Can you tell me how it is?
No, it's Desiree Door, mate.
It's actually no, it's not.
It's Desiree Door.
It's Due, isn't it?
I also now want to mock George for his spelling, but I feel bad for mocking him at the top of the show because you didn't join in on the fun, so I felt bad.
George is my guy. That is my guy.
I know you two are.
Too fair.
I thought I loved George. It's another level.
It's just us three. We all love each other.
We love each other. Love you, George. When George is giving you pronunciation stuff, that is concerning. Right, let's move on.
I was genuinely laughing. How do I really pronounce that? So I just said door.
Desiree Door. Let's go to this. So did you see this today? Let me just bring it up. What I probably should have done, Rohan, is prep it before the podcast, but no.
But we don't do that. We are very spontaneous and we just go with the flow.
There is a report from Sami Mokbul. Sorry. I keep saying Sam Mokbul after mocking people for their pronunciation. Sami Mokbul says the Premier League are in talks with all 20 clubs over introducing mid-game player interviews as a staple of their broadcasting packages from next season. Do you remember when there was the thing about managers?
I felt like they did it
for like 3 games.
Yeah.
And then I remember one with De Zerbi where he was just like completely not interested in the discussion.
Was that mid game?
Yeah, it was mid game. It was a half time.
Oh,
there is a significant opposition towards the proposals from teams higher in the division. Firstly, so I actually read an article today from The Athletic, and it was about. Do you know who Peyton Manning is? Everyone calling it woke in the chat.
Peyton
Manning. Peyton Manning, quarterback, defense, high up, quarterback. I have nothing else. So he used to be a quarterback in the NFL, and he does basically like a sportscast almost from his home. So in some ways, getting more access is a very American thing. Like having like that they have like a whole podcast, like 2 million people watch. Basically, it's like a watch along, but like an unbelievable studio with like the base. Like imagine like I don't know, Gary Neville doing a watch along and having like a full studio and like it's just on his own as well. It's that sort of thing. And there are certain ideas in America that I think will come over and like will propagate and are certainly interesting. And they're always like slightly ahead of us. But this feels very much like a thing that won't match British culture. I just can't imagine. Firstly, I think people are in British culture will be a bit more like, I actually don't want to hear from them. I just want them to play the game, to be honest.
Yeah,
I think that's just a cultural thing. It's not good or bad. I just think that is how people will feel. And secondly, I just think you'll get nothing. You'll get absolutely nothing out of people because they don't want to talk to you. They want to go and get refreshed. They want to go and get instructions from the manager. You'll get a minute of how's the game going? How, what did you think of that incident? Yeah, it was fine. What do you think about this? Yeah, it was fine. Can I go now? Do you know what I mean? You're not going to get players in any kind of reflective mood. So there's certain things from America that I think are great and can be introduced, and like stuff like that. Like I would love like a watch along with, I don't know, say Thierry Henry watching an Arsenal game. I'd watch that. Of course I would. But there's certain things like this that I just think are rubbish.
Please no. Don't want this.
By the way, I'm assuming it's from America.
Yeah.
Come to me, but I think it is.
I genuinely, this is just no. Let them play football. Just let them play. Just let them play. Yeah. I feel like I know it's very a traditional mindset, but if that is a traditional mindset, then I certainly have that mindset in reference to this because I don't want this. Just let them play.
But this is the thing. I think it adds to the entertainment. Look, this is the thing with anything, isn't it? It's like you have to be present with what you're doing. You have to be present.
Yeah.
That the reason football is good is because you block out part of the reason because you block out everything else. That's what you're fully present with. And and this is why I refuse to do watch alongs. This is why I refuse to do like much stuff around the game because I want to be fully involved in the game. My whole thing about watching football casually, I can't do it. I want to be fully involved in the game and present with the game. And almost, that thing when you're watching a film and you're like 2 hours in, you go, oh, I'm watching a film. You've completely lost yourself. That's the entertainment for me, or certainly an aspect of the entertainment. So there's constant desire to like chop it up and add breaks and add things in and analyze it and stuff. That 90 minutes where it's just you and the game and your thoughts and what's happening and the emotions of it. That's sacrosanct to me. That is the most important part of the game. In fact, with you won't even talk to me after the game.
Trust me. If let's say that game against Leicester, they scored those 2 goals just before half time. I do not want to hear or anyone says at half time. I literally just play, win the game, just win the game. On what if it was bench players, like the players on the bench getting these interviews?
Ooh, that could be interesting.
Yeah,
I'll be up for that. But as part of the broadcast, like if you could go, you get a mid game from say a goalie, you could be like, how do you think the team are doing, and what are you feeling? That might be interesting. I don't know, again, but the problem is I don't know how much you get because ultimately it's all going to be. This is like the whole thing with like challenges. You have to think these 3 things through, right? I'm not against challenges, but I think what you'd end up having is like VAR wars where everyone's trying to get the best VAR guy for their club, and there'd be this whole transfer of VAR, like Mark Clattenburg moving from Newcastle, so whatever. You'd have that, and you'd have this whole sort of culture around it. And I think with this, it's like it sounds like a good idea, but when you actually put it in practice, what would happen, I think, is people would go, well, if they're going to give us any actual insight, I think we're going to think about bringing, making this change, something you'd actually want to know. Well, immediately, if we're playing Chelsea, the opposite, there's going to be someone at home texting the Chelsea assistant coach saying they're about to do this. They've just told us. Yeah. So you have to. You wouldn't tell them anything because it's in the middle of a game. They barely even tell you stuff after games. They only give you a little bit.
In cricket, in the IPL, and they actually do it in some of the T20 games in England as well, the T20 Blast. They do mic up some of the fielders. They mic them up and they'll talk to them during the game. Yeah. But the difference between cricket and football is the fact that when they are talking to them, it's when the bowler's it's before he bowls the ball, before he bowls. So the game's not active in that specific moment. Whereas in football, you're always active, so you can't. So in that scenario, because I have a feeling there's going to be talk of miking players up now and talking to them during the game. Yeah. That'll be awful. No. There's certain things do not need changing. for me. There's so
Yeah.
much. Leave it. Just leave it.
Yeah.
Leave it.
And that's the thing. I'm not against changes and progress and whatever. It's always gonna happen, right? But I just love the fact that it is just 90 minutes of no phone, unless obviously there's games where you're a bit more distracted, whatever. But those games where you are just fully present with it. Same as a movie, same as a great play, same as anything. You're fully present with it. You're in flow state with something. I'm just naturally against this constant desire to distract everyone all the time. Just like
you know me. When Arsenal games, phone off.
Mate,
phone is off. I cannot be contacted. I don't.
Yeah.
Do not, even at games, I'll take pictures before and after. During the game, not even when we score, nothing.
Yep.
I'm in the moment. I'm just there. It's me and Arsenal.
It's woke nonsense. Latte FM says, what in the Rohan Javan have I turned into? That background.
Javan? Faisal, really?
It's probably just a typo. I probably shouldn't have pointed it out. He's doubled down, Javan.
He has. He's doubled down.
Oh, bless him. Hi, Faisal.
Game is getting so woke.
The game.
I said game is getting so woke.
Can we talk Benjamin Šeško?
I've not seen the goal. I'm not seen the second goal yet. I saw the first one.
Can I hit you with some extremely good analysis? Ready?
Do it.
I like the way he kicks the football into the goal. And I think if you can kick a football very good into the goal, that means you'll get more goals, and then therefore you'll win games.
Absolutely. What's that
Sky
Sean
Sports,
Dyche
Sky Sports, I am available.
What's that Sean Dyche one? That Sean Dyche video?
Keep the ball out of the head. Put it in the head.
And then it's the clip of him of him scoring a penalty. He's just like thunderbolted it.
John Duran as well. Oh my
God.
Me.
John Duran.
But again, it's this player that I don't think we have who just backs himself. Just backs himself.
Can slap it.
Do you know what? Saka, I saw a little bit against PSG. There's a couple of games this season, I've seen a little bit of. I said it to George on this interaction. The first action where Timber's on the overlap and he cuts in and has a shot. A season ago, he would never do that in his life.
Yeah.
He would never do it in his life. He'd be too scared of Mikel going, Ben was on the overlap. I get that, but I just do feel to win the biggest prizes, to win the Champions League, I talk about it all the time, but we still need that player who just goes, F you, Mikel. I'm going to spank one from 40 yards.
I do think we've started to see more shots outside the box as well, like you alluded to there. I mean, Saka had one in the 93rd minute.
Yeah, but mate, I mean in situations where it would make more sense. Like, we've created situations where we've got space on the edge of the box to shoot. I agree. But are we seeing that level of a player who does something like a John Duran who just goes, get off, I'm having a go? Now, that's you can't plan for that. And you can't coach that necessarily. But this is the thing, is you always need something slightly uncoachable in your team. And I just don't know whether we have that. I don't know.
I always find it interesting because Emery, post-match, they spotted in the analysis of Manuel Neuer playing with such aggressive height. And actually, that is something that the assistant coach, who, by the way, follows me for Bayern.
What?
Yeah, the assistant coach for Bayern follows me.
The assistant coach, but who?
René Maric.
So,
is he assistant or he's part of the coaching setup?
So René Maric sees our thumbnails on Cannon Podcast Live, probably.
Unless he's muted me, which he probably has.
René Maric has seen you on a Shetland pony.
I mean, he's not unfollowed after all the rubbish that I've been spouting online.
He's probably seen me replying to you saying,
what happened? I think it was I posted one of the articles on positional play, and I noticed he followed me then. That was when, and he's not unfollowed me since. So, but he actually back in 20.
Nick Campbell, we haven't. Sorry, I'll let you finish in a second. We haven't coachables in our team. His name's Calafiori. We have Saka growing into it. So I agree. Calafiori. I agree on Saka's growing into it. That's something developing. And I'm like, let's say my issue was at 100%. It's like 25% there. If that grows over the course of the season, then you'll see me changing my tune and going, we're the perfect team. Calafiori. The problem is, I've seen this happen before with players. I think Mikel will curb him slightly, and by the way, will make him a better player. We'll make Calafiori less rash in the challenge. We'll make better decisions in the final third. We'll be more effective. We'll be more coached. Absolutely. So I'm not going against that. But the problem is always when you coach something fully, you're just going to lose a little bit of something. And I think we need that little bit of something.
Yeah. Do you think the coaching will make him a far better player, but he might lose a little bit of that edge and that personality?
Would he have that shot on the edge of the box against City in a year's time?
I was just going to mention that. Yeah. And also that is something that he's done many times for Bologna. But going back to that, to the Neuer positioning, and actually you see with David Ryan how aggressive he is. And he actually tweeted out, I think it was back in 2010, he's like, I really think the next evolution in football is the goalkeeper being the sweeper keeper and playing with the back line so that you can push an extra body forward. You can also create other advantages. And they clearly spotted that.
We do that.
And we do that as well. But you're seeing something that's happening in football. And they saw it. John Duran, literally, he knew he was off his line. I mean, it's still a very difficult finish to execute.
Yeah.
But it's something that, and I wouldn't criticize Bayern for that, because at the end of the day, the way that Neuer plays is going to win them more games than lose them games. So it's kind of that trade-off that you do have as well. But mate, honestly, some of these goals that I saw yesterday, like the Leipzig and Juventus game was the battle of the two strikers who were heavily linked for Arsenal, Vlahovic and Sesko, both scoring twice. John Duran. John Duran's goal catalogue is insane.
He's honestly at like 2.76 goals per 90 or something. It's crazy.
But have you seen the goals? It's crazy. Honestly.
George says, I feel there's something to talk about how much freedom Mikel has given to our play this year. Look, I think we're more free generally, 100%. But I think in that final action is what I'm talking about. That's the final. I think, for example, Havertz's positioning. I think Mikel is trusting the team a little bit more. I have no doubt in that. I think in players like Timber and Calafiori, he's giving them a little bit more. It's within a structure, but there's a little bit more freedom, right? But does he give that? What the Saka moment is a perfect example. It's the right thing, not the positioning, the action. The right thing to do in that situation was to play that pass to Timber. That's going to get you the higher XG chance. In Mikel's Rolodex of football, in terms of creating a game model, that's the pass you make. Do we have players who don't do that all the time? And in the final action, I'm not sure.
Yeah, and we'll see. Yeah.
We'll see. I also saw today, Rohan.
Yeah.
For a little bit of fun. This is what we do. We just blend, football analysis with fun. Apparently,
fun.
Are you having fun? Say yes.
Generally, I always have fun. Always, yeah.
That's good.
Always.
I like fun. I'm a big fan of fun, I'd say.
I actually love podcasting. Genuinely. I love it. I actually love it.
No, it's the best, isn't it? It's so fun. It's so fun. Let's go. Where was it? Oh, no, I need to open it first. So basically,
I want to talk about Jesus and party as well later today.
We'll come to those.
Yeah.
I saw this earlier, and it reminded me of something. Emilia, who tweeted this out, and who said, "Must be nice to go to school nowadays as an Arsenal fan." I went to school, so I started secondary school in 2008.
We're the same age.
Don't call me an uncle. Don't call me an uncle. And I left sixth form. You Americans and Canadians in the chat, sixth form, if you know what that is. Is that a thing in America, Canada?
What?
No, they go to college. They go to elementary and then kinder, and then they go to high school, and they're freshman, sophomore, senior. I think it's like senior year in high school. What is this? Anyway, sixth form between 2008 and 2015, right? I think is that the worst time to be at school as an Arsenal fan?
It's definitely up there. And I was the same time as you as well. And I'll tell you the results that I had to go through.
Go on. Oh, yeah, of course. Oh, yeah.
5-1 against Liverpool. 8-2 against United. 6-3 against City. 4-0 against Southampton. 3-0 against Everton. I can keep going.
The Everton? Really against Everton?
When Lukaku, Naismith, and Morales, Kevin Morales.
I remember that game. How do you remember that game?
Mate, that was
mine's the 6-0. I have like a film of that day because I couldn't watch it because I was acting and performing because I was a star. I still am. All right, guys. You got to back me up. Thanks, Ryan. All the validation I need. I couldn't watch it, and it was like I'd get like my mate being like, they've scored, and then I look at my phone, it was 2-0. And then like I was in the car somewhere and it was 3-0. Then I got in, I think I was like getting my haircut, so I was like somewhere else, and then I heard someone say, like, oh, have you heard the Arsenal score? It was like those things where like the sort of you're getting results from everywhere, and then finally you get back home and you see the result, and you're just like, it's horrible. And
I
I,
got
I,
honest. Oh my god, that
it was
period.
horrible every Monday.
Every Monday, you're dreading going to school. Genuinely, I was dreading going to school, dreading it because I'd always give it a bit as well. I'd always give it a bit on the Friday, like,
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, we got this. We got
Oh
this. I'll
mate,
give it a bit.
the 10-2 against Bayern. The oh
No, but
Christ.
that was in the period where people just had sympathy for me, and that was even worse.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
oh,
even worse. It's like, oh, you're an
yeah,
Arsenal
it's
fan.
like oh, it's lost again. It's like, but so what I'm gonna say is anyone who is in the peak of like school, like A levels, GCSEs, please, like for me, just rip into every single other fan.
Oh mate,
Man
if
United
you're
fan,
watching this, you
Chelsea,
get to go to
please do
school.
it.
For
Do
me
it.
and Rohan,
Yeah.
please
The
just
pain
rip
that we had to
everyone.
endure.
Everyone. I think maybe a year earlier because we ended the trophy drought in 2014.
Yeah.
But then there was
So
some,
but
there
that
some
was the
peak
last
banter.
bit. But I left, so I finished school in 2015. You would have finished school in 2015 as well.
Yeah.
So I had the FA Cup and also had the 2015 FA Cup as well.
Right, we're doing it.
But
We're doing it.
there was just the 4-0 against Southampton was peak Arsenal during that period because we'd beaten Man City on the Saturday, I think it was 2-1, and then Cuco Martina curls one like outside the box. Oh my god,
We're doing it. We're building our banter era 11. And I'm defining that. What we defining is the banter era. Chat, we need your help with this. I'm defining it by peak banter. So the high, like not necessarily the worst player, but the highest banter sort of ratio. The XB, expected banter.
Expected banter. Okay.
I think in goal, it's got to be Almunia.
It's got to be Almunia. I have to say, when he did play well, he had some very good games, but he was pretty bad.
He was peak in terms of expected banter. Carl Jenkinson's got to be. I love the guy, but he's got to be.
No, enough of this. Enough of this.
No, he's got to be.
Enough of this. No, I had enough of this sympathy nonsense. He's awful. He was honestly trash.
No, he's a nice guy. I'm not saying he's a great. He's a really nice guy.
Yeah, but a lot of these guys are probably nice guys.
He's a nice guy. That's his job.
No, yeah, he was.
Nice guy.
My!
It's got to be Jenkinson. Unfortunately, I feel bad because like he seems like a really nice guy, but he did. Yeah,
he was awful, Alex. It was honestly awful.
But you know what? I feel bad because also he like listens to I'm not saying he's going to listen to this podcast, but he's been on loads of podcasts and sort of spoken about it a little bit and been like, yeah, I kind of knew from day one. Like physically, I was there, but once my physical level went, I just felt like I couldn't perform. And to be fair, Jenkinson at one point physically could keep up, and there was a game against Bayern, he was fine.
But you can keep going with this. I'm not.
Expected banter.
I'm not going.
Oh, he's in my team. What is that? You're like I'm defending him. He's on the pitch.
I'm not having any positivity on Carl Jenkins. Who's absolute trash in the pitch.
Andre Santos.
At least he gave me the Stamford Bridge moment. At least he gave me that. But he's definitely in this.
Andre Santos definitely back left back.
But he did score Stamford Bridge. What the level of he triggered me so much when he swapped shirts with he swapped shirts with Van Persie at half time at Old Trafford. Don't know if you remember that. That was god, I hate that. Yeah,
we need to build. What we building a 4-3-3 or a peak?
We're doing it based on peak banter. Formation's irrelevant.
Yeah. What's a peak banter formation? 5-3-2. There's got to be defend. We've got to have more defenders, frankly.
Yeah.
Let's have a 5-3-2.
Can we go for a 6 actually?
And actually, I'm gonna put the position. I'm gonna put the numbers around. We're gonna have a number 7. We have a number 9 and number 7 up front. Who are the centre backs?
Okay, so
let's get one from the chat. Let's get one from the chat.
Yeah.
Let's get one from the chat.
Yeah.
Okay. SSX5. Mustafi's got to be in it. He's got to be.
He is definitely in there. I do have an unpopular opinion on Mustafi though.
Oh Jesus! What is it?
All right, Mustafi. Right. He would have, I could see time and time again, Mustafi would have like 70 minutes in a game where he's ridiculous, but then he have a 10-minute period where he just loses it. He loses it all. And
Ridiculous? Is it ridiculously good?
He'd have a really good like 67.
Right. It's been great to have Rohan on the podcast. I really appreciate it. I'm going to end the stream there. Thank you, guys. He can literally add himself, so I don't know why he's playing this card. You can literally add yourself.
I'm back in. No. Let me land. I'm telling you, honestly, he'd have like Mustafi in terms of switching play. He'd have one like the cleanest switches you'll see. Like he was really good at that. But he would have like every single game. He'd have a calamitous period. Where
Chat, do I end the stream? I think I end the stream.
No. But he's in there. I'm not going to go on because I think I'm outnumbered here. Just like the Monreal thing, which is
the chat are absolutely killing you, mate. Absolutely killing you. Oh, tell you who needs to be in there. Thank you, Akshat. Licksteiner. Bloody, that bloke was washed. That bloke was done. That bloke was.
He was stiff, mate.
He's the living embodiment of. Have you seen that meme of like someone did it to me, where like AM on football takes in 2024, and it's like David Luiz in an Arsenal shirt, Ronaldo at Al Nassr, like it's that meme.
Mate, Lichtsteiner was stiff. Honestly, he was stiff. Do you remember Emery's first game? Maitland-Niles got injured, and he came in, and he was doing all this passion stuff.
You hate that. Why do you hate that so much?
Because play the game. Play the game.
Play the game.
Play the game. I want to see you play it, and then you can give me all this nonsense. Yeah, he was stiff. Yeah, definitely.
Actually, we're going to play a left winger, but no right winger. That's the biggest.
Where's this formation going? We've got
no
a back.
I'm not having David Luiz.
No, not having David Luiz.
I'm not having David Luiz. Look, not the best player, but David Luiz was an important part of the Arteta project. I'm sticking up for my boy, TJR.
I'll tell you who having it, and we'll disagree. I know who I'm having, because I could not stand this guy, and I couldn't stand him because Arsenal fans.
You're not going to have. I was thinking not having Holdini just to annoy you.
No, I'm not going to have Holding in there because I think Holding has had good games. He's had a lot.
I think Holding was was quite a good signing overall. Like, you obviously not at the level. But...
I'm not going to put Holding, but Holding triggered me on so many different levels because certain people putting him on a pedestal that is just awful. But what I will say is this guy, Socrates Papastatopoulos.
No.
Yeah, Socrates.
No,
he was awful, Ali.
Not having that. I'm not having. No, bro, I'm not having Socrates in a banter 11. In terms of expected banter. No, in terms of what are we judging on? We're judging on expected banter. It's a clear metric that you need to understand.
How many times have we seen that clip against Watford? Leno to Socrates, Socrates straight into the midfield.
Tell you what, George. Yeah. Actually, yeah. Hang on. Other people are saying it as well. TBG's saying it, and I'll tell you why. It's Squillaci for this one picture. I remember this picture. Hang on, where is it? He's doing weights.
Oh.
He's doing weights in training, and it's like the smallest weight I've ever seen. This one. Right. He's going in purely for this. This was the expected banter all over. Hang on a minute.
Squillaci's up there, to be fair. We've had a lot of bad centre-backs, man. Honestly.
Look at this bloke. This bloke is in our banter. That's 15 kg dumbbell. I'm sorry, that's going in.
Okay, fine. Can we? Okay, fine.
Squillaci that is absolutely in our banter 11.
That is our centre back. Our centre back. The form is very questionable as well. What?
Take your screenshots, guys.
All right, put him in there. But I have to say, Socrates was absolute.
No, that's harsh. That's really harsh. I don't like that.
How?
It's hard. He was fine. Look, he wasn't at the level, but he was. What? Okay, name other than him. It's just you with your thing about the fist pumps. You just hate that.
No, because what really annoyed me is the fact that he'd be awful, but then it'll be clouded by these passion merchant moments.
He wasn't. He was fine for like a top 8 level. He was fine.
Top 8.
Chat.
Please.
What we saying about Socrates?
Please.
You just hate him because he used to fist pump.
Please, chat. Please. I'm on my knees here.
Whoever chat agrees with, so it's one person.
First comment
is okay. First comment in.
First comment.
Agree or disagree. Oh no, it's
all right. Thanks. Right. Yeah. Get yourself back in here, though.
I'm done.
Actually, no. Let's put Socrates / I'll let you pick. Who would you go for? Oh no, we've already got Slatch. Oh god, sorry.
We've got another defender. We've got to build a team here. Right, midfielders. Who are you saying? Right, I'll tell you who's going straight in. Stay dead, you'll get Frimpong. Stay dead, you'll get Frimpong. Dench, you don't want to get Frimpong. Dench, you don't want to get Frimpong. Stay dead, you'll get Frimpong. Stay dead, you'll get Frimpong. Dench, you don't want to get Frimpong. Dench, you don't want to get Frimpong.
Do you remember? Well, it was with Lethal Bizzle, wasn't it?
Percy, Dench goal, all of the mercy. Gooners, we fight to the end. Dench gang, leave it. If you want to tackle then. Soft with the ladies, hard with the men.
You're actually cooking. You're cooking it. You're cooking. That was like peak Soccer AM, wasn't it? That was peak Soccer AM.
Oh, God. Right.
But do you remember one of Frimpong's eye-catching moments? Do you remember the game against Liverpool? We lost 2-0. And he gets sent off for a flying kick on Martin Skull. That's what it was. It's a flying kick.
Wait, who?
And we played Liverpool on the opening day.
Wait, who are you talking
about? Frimpong. Emmanuel Frimpong.
Oh, right. I thought you were talking about Socrates. Jesus, right. Yeah, go
on. No. I've gone past him. No, Frimpong. Opening day against Liverpool. I hope chat remembers this. I think it was...
Sorry, just tuned in. Is Alex trying? No, I'm not. However, I have thought, not that you would do it, obviously, Rohan. I think one stream I just get absolutely. Did you see the one Lee Gunner where he did edibles?
What?
There's a thing where he had to end a watch along or something because he did edibles.
Oh, that is crazy. That is wild.
But you never.
But honestly, Frimpong. I remember that game against the opening day of the season. He gets sent off for a flying kick on Martin Skull. We lose 2-0. Ignacy Miguel own goal. Do you remember Ignacy Miguel?
Yeah. I rated it at one point. I remember thinking like,
it wasn't bad.
Decent bloke. Right, Frimpong's in there. Who else? Let's get a chat.
Oh, okay.
George saying Denilson. I'm not.
But I thought Denilson had some. I had some nice moments. I have some nice moments. Do you remember the opening day against Everton? The 6-1. Denilson long range. Okay, just me. Just me.
You remember every single game. Guendouzi.
Nah, I can't put him. Well, actually, in terms of expected bans, maybe you could argue. To be fair, you could argue it
for Guendouzi.
Yeah, in terms of
I'm saying in terms of how bad they were. Guendouzi was like he wasn't. Zelalem was just built up and shot down. I feel. Do you know what? I think the midfield's quite hard. Some people think Kallstrom as well. I think like
scored the penalty against.
Yeah, and also. It's not his fault he arrived injured. Although, is that expected banter, though, just because of how poorly managed it was?
No, I'm not having Kallstrom in there.
No, I think we might have to because it's expected banter.
But we can't go to Van Bronckhorst. We're going all the way back. We need to.
No, this is banter era. Yeah, this is me and Rohan at school fighting for our lives.
Fighting for our lives, defending these players. These players.
No, bro, they're good. They're good, bro.
Combined 11s. We're trying to get these guys in.
Ryan, you have to understand, bro. I need to put another defender in there. I can't think of any more midfielders. People saying
midfielders.
Dennis Suarez is going in there.
Yeah, definitely. Dennis
Suarez. Because he was pony as well.
Do you remember Dennis? Do you know what Dennis Suarez's best game was? Do you remember when we went on that mid-season we went away to Dubai and we had that practice game against like a Dubai 11?
How do you remember these things?
Because I watched it, so it was a Dubai 11.
We had a mid-season trip to Dubai where we played a Dubai 11. Was that televised?
No, I think Yeah, I think it was televised on the Arsenal website, and it was a Dubai. I think it might not have been Dubai. It was somewhere, and yeah, he was honestly ridiculous. But how wrong was I? How I was fooled. I was completely fooled because I didn't know much about Dennis Suarez. Was it a Dubai 11? It might. Yeah, it was.
A Dubai 11. I've never heard
Well,
that in my life.
I
Was
can't
my
remember
was my
exactly, but
sister in
wasn't-
it? She might have made the 11.
Okay,
What's
right.
this
I need
doing
to
in
think
Dubai?
of another
That's a
midfielder.
joke.
Now.
Park Chu Young's a great shout, by the way, from George in there.
Oh,
It's a fantastic shout up top.
well, we're going a bit more
People
centre forward now.
People saying
We're going centre
Diaby.
forward.
I think
No.
Diaby's harsh as well. I think that's
Abu
harsh.
Diaby had a higher ceiling than Jack Wilshere.
Wow.
Abu Diaby was ridiculous.
Chat, do
honestly.
I end it there?
Are you crazy? Abu Diaby.
No, they're very different players.
Okay.
Higher ceiling though is a huge.
Abu Diaby was.
That's
ridiculous.
a huge claim.
Diaby was immense, Alex. Trust me.
Higher ceiling than Wilshere.
You're thinking if you're looking like
Wilshere
Yaya
looked like one of the
Toure
best.
mold.
Wilshere at one point looked like he was going to be the best midfielder in the world. As a ceiling,
Yaya Toure was more complete. I'll tell you.
Diaby
not
could
Yaya
have been,
Toure, not Yaya. Sorry, Diaby was more complete.
No, Diaby could have been top 15, like a brilliant top midfielder. I never felt he was ever going to get.
Do you know
there.
who was his biggest
But
fan?
in fairness, when I watched him, I was like a 12-year-old, so you know I was probably wrong.
The streets will know that Liverpool performance at Anfield. The streets will know.
No, yeah, of course, it's one performance. The streets
No,
will
he had
know.
some really good games.
Wilshere at Barcelona. Do you know what I mean?
Abu Diaby against Liverpool, the 1-0 win, the winner, header, back post.
Wellington Silvers. Who was that bloke who just couldn't get a work permit? Joel Campbell. He's going in.
Yeah, Joel Campbell.
He just couldn't get a work. I'm not even talking on pitch now. He just couldn't get a work permit, bless him.
He was cooking in that 2014 World Cup as well for Costa Rica.
Yeah. Mkhitaryan. I'm not having that. I'm not having Mkhitaryan. Mkhitaryan was fine.
Not in this 11, no.
Right, we've got 2 slots left. 2 slots left. Because this.
Yeah, Sonogo. I tell you what, though, I remember, right? So Yaya Sonogo made his debut against Bayern, and please, chat, if you can remember the first 30 minutes of that game against Jerome Boateng, he had him on strings. He had Jerome Boateng on strings, Yaya Sonogo. And after that, my God, I think he scored 1 goal in competitive football.
I'm going to pull Frimpong back and put him as a sort of prong in a sort of four-prong triangle in a kind of false 9.
Chat, please respond if you remember that first 30 minutes against Bayern Munich. Honestly, he was ridiculous. It was against Pete Boateng, and he was, oh my God. But yeah, he has to be up there.
I think Park Chu Young is a great shout as a final one. Gervinho. Oh my God.
We had some absolute trash on this.
Gervinho, that forehead, mate.
Oh my God.
That forehead. Who's saying Walcott in the chat?
No. I will not have Walcott. I will not have
disrespect
to Theo Walcott. 100 goals for the Arsenal. Theo Walcott, 100 goals.
I think we've got to put Kallstrom in there, mate. Pleguezuelo. Oh my God, that's a name I haven't heard in years. Oh, Flamini, I'm not having.
But what about Flamini on his return?
Yeah, well, great. He scored against Spurs, didn't he? I think we've got to put Kallstrom in. I feel
like there's a better one out there. I'm trying to think.
I think a midfield. I think Mustafi in goal. I think a back 3 of a narrow Sonogo, Lichtsteiner in the middle, and Jenkinson. Jenkinson can get out to them.
Lichtsteiner was stiff. He was so
Almunia dictating from deep, alongside Joel Campbell and Dennis Suarez in his natural position. Then I think Frimpong just in behind a narrow.
In the hole. He's in the hole.
He's in the hole. He's dictating. Kim Castro at left wing, but no right winger. Yeah, I think that would cook.
We've got extremely lopsided here, but
you know what's funny as well? If we created, just to say how far away we are from professional footballers, if we created an 11 out of the people in this chat and they played that formation, we'd still lose. That's how good professional footballers are. So we can sit here and mock them all we want.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That 11, if we created an 11 out of the Cannon Pod, me, you, George, and then just a load of like viewers and stuff, they'd be done.
Right, out of that 11, who do you hate the most?
I don't hate any of them.
No, we got on a footballing level. Come on.
On a footballing level, Santos just felt like he didn't want to play for the club. It felt like he thought he was better than number one. And that's the one thing I can't. I don't like this. That's the one thing I can't deal with is when someone thinks they're better than a club. Go away.
True. My God, there's some awful players there. Jenkinson was so trash, honestly.
He was. You're so harsh to him.
Chat. Am I being harsh? He was absolute. He'd be the worst right back in the league if he was playing right now in his peak.
Yeah, but the thing is, moved on. Why am I defending him?
Chat.
United has squandered a 2-goal lead. Absolutely love that.
Have they? Love that.
Back at 2-2. Right. Let's move on. Okay.
That was fun.
So
that was actually.
We've had a bit of time without Ødegaard in the team. And basically what I'm doing, someone commented this on a TDK video yesterday, said, I realize what Alex does is like a stand-up set. He'll go on a podcast and say stuff he's going to say in a main channel video and basically test it out. And then he'll come back and have it like make sense in a main channel video. This is basically what I used TCP Live for. So I'm trying to sort of order my thoughts. So I did this poll earlier about Ødegaard. Because I basically thought this whole thing about Ødegaard's holding us back, I genuinely thought it was like a joke at first. Then I thought like 3 people believed it. But honestly, a lot of people think about it. So this is the current state of the thread. Sorry, the poll, right? So I put this out earlier. For a video on Different Knock, how would you rate your response to the following statement? Arsenal would be better off without Ødegaard. Now, over half, so 58%, have said no, absolutely not. They would not be better off without Ødegaard. But I've been shocked by 32.7% said they're skeptical, but they'll listen. 6.8% said they're leaning towards it, and 2.5%, which is out of 2,000 people. What's that? Do the maths, please. Do the maths. Help. Please
just leave it. Don't worry. I'm tired.
I said absolutely, and like for me, that's like that's like someone saying the Earth's flat. Do you know what I mean? Like that's it's like actually in terms of if you break down people who are what's the word like sympathetic towards the idea and beyond, that's nearly half. Which I'm like, that's crazy. That's correct. Not sympathetic. You know what I mean? Like skeptical, but they're like, okay, yeah, there might be something to it. So I don't know. I thought it was a completely fringe idea, but actually sometimes I think it's good to do those polls to get a sense because you just get in your own echo chamber where obviously Arsenal are the victims. Moving on. How have you found the team without Ødegaard?
So we spoke about it when the news kind of unfolded and how when we had the games against Spurs and City and how when I'm looking at our best 11, let's say, I didn't see Ødegaard in those 2 types of games being as important relative to others. I said that and I felt that we had enough quality and enough ways of approaching those 2 games to mitigate that. And we absolutely did. And that's a testament to the adaptability of the squad. But Ødegaard's influence and roles in terms of at home in every single game. Also, I'd say in every single game, his influence is paramount in terms of allowing the team to tick. But there are certain games in which I just don't think he's going to be as influential to others, which is why I think we can mitigate it. Whereas I think other players, I'd say in every single game, their influence, we could really miss that. But so the Spurs and the Man City games, we're looking at those 2 types of teams in which we're not going to dominate the game with the ball, especially how those 2 teams play. And if you understand who the type of manager Arteta is and the pragmatism at which he operates with, and what I really want to stress about that pragmatic does not equal boring. Pragmatic equals a coach who has
winning.
Multiple because I do think pragmatic equals boring to a lot of people. I think that word is associated with
put it in that goal. Keep it out of that goal.
But I think in those types of games, we saw it Arsenal going a lot more long, which is a massive staple to our play. And Ødegaard, when you're talking about others, he's not as important, when we're going long, because he's not that second ball winner who's going to be as strong as others. But in games against lots of Leicester, Southampton, etc., I think Ødegaard's influence is absolutely massive in terms of allowing the team to tick. Now, you could argue that, well, we just created one of our highest XGs in a game against Leicester. The goalkeeper made 15 plus saves, etc. But it's a very small sample size, And I think we can always mitigate the loss of a player, but in the case of Ødegaard, but I don't think you can completely disregard the impact that he has. He will go very underappreciated if we're going towards that end of the spectrum of saying, he's we have evolved past him, because we haven't evolved past him. This team still needs Ødegaard in terms of his ability to knit play together and how we connect. And I don't think we are still we're not there without him in that sense.
I think your point about mitigation is a good one. What players in world football can teams literally, like the Rodris, who can teams not mitigate for? Because I think you can mitigate for De Bruyne.
Yes, yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah,
so using that as a marker of how good a player is, I think is a little bit harsh to me.
No, I'd say in terms of mitigate, it depends on what your objectives are for the season. So when we're talking about our objectives, like Manchester City can mitigate Rodri's injury, right? At baseline. They can mitigate it, but can they mitigate it to the level of stopping Arsenal from winning the Premier League? No, I don't believe so. And it's like the same, if Ødegaard is out for the rest of the season, Arsenal could mitigate his loss, but I wouldn't be confident Arsenal will win the Premier League. That's how I see it.
Yeah.
And it depends on the context of what your objectives are for the season. And where you want to be.
I think in a... Okay, here's my sympathy towards that position before I give really what I feel, which is that Ødegaard to me is a staple of this team and one of the most important players in it. I hear the point about running power in terms of he hasn't got that same thing as De Bruyne. I actually prefer him in tight spaces. Listen to what I'm saying. In tight spaces to De Bruyne. So that there's, but in big spaces, De Bruyne kills him. But that's just about the player he is. And they get compared because they're both creative players for big teams, but I don't think they're particularly similar. Ødegaard is much more of an 8 in terms of knitting play together, in terms of dropping out the block, in terms of receiving from the goalkeeper and the centre backs. Look at when people were trying to change into a number 10, when the 10 became available and people were saying, we need to go to Ødegaard. I was like, that's the perfect example beyond just the aesthetic of it being a number 10, of people kind of not seeing what Ødegaard is. They see the O and they go, he's like Ozil. No. He's closer to a Gerrard. He's closer to a Gerrard or a Lampard in different than a Mesut Ozil, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think in terms of breaking teams down, I don't think you take him out of the team. In terms of the running games, like literally running through games or transition games, I think, there's a possible weakness there. But then you could argue, okay, do you get the most out of Kai Havertz in a game where you've got two big centre-backs? You just ask him to do different things.
Exactly. It's like Man City and Spurs. They're games in which you have to run a lot. You have to run a lot. And that's why we were able to mitigate it a lot there. We can't... Yeah. The sample size is extremely small anyway for us to be able to provide a concrete conclusion here. But yeah, I think I always think, when a player goes missing and is absent for whatever reason, and then your team starts winning games of football, the narrative becomes something like this. And it's always that kind of phrase of... It's like Gilberto Silva, like you notice his influence when it's not there. And that will happen with Ødegaard if he's out for longer. And that's why, in terms of mitigation, it depends on the context. But what I will say is that Ødegaard, I'd say against Leicester City, we would have created even more. We would have created even more if Ødegaard was playing there, especially if he had the role that he had last season. But I think what's really good is the fact that the adaptability that Arsenal are showing, and we're still getting through this period without Martin Ødegaard. But over a 38-game season, mate, you can't deny it's...
And the thing is we've adapted. So we like, let's just be, in terms of quite like a blunt description, we've gone a little bit more direct. But you can't do that and that's fine. And you can do that with Ødegaard, but you can't do that in every game. You can't.
Exactly.
You can't do that. You can't do that thing we're doing with Havertz at the moment in every single game. It works because we can't build up through the thirds with Ødegaard. He's a piece. Look, so Dalsquare's put a super chat. Thank you so much. Ødegaard is top, but I don't agree with those who think he's undroppable. For me, only 3 players fit this: Saka, Saliba, Rice. Low blocks, we want Ødegaard. And I think, is there a game? Is there a world where I go, actually, I want to pull Ødegaard out of the team today for whatever reason?
I'll give you an example.
There is, and there's not with Saka, Saliba, Rice. They fit every single game state.
I'll give you an example, right? So, and I remember when I was at the ground, the Brighton game, when we go down to 10 men, we know what's happening. Arsenal's intention is to go into that back five nominally, right? And we're going to go into that 5-3-1 shape, standard structure. And what you're going to effectively have are three forwards in transition, potentially when we have any sort of moment. Martin Ødegaard, relative to others, becomes null and void in that type of game state. If you think about it, Bukayo Saka is our superstar. He is the guy with the Midas touch. He's not going to be taken out of the team.
He's the guy
with the
Midas touch.
Is that Princess and the Frog?
Nope.
Oh, okay. I'll continue with my. By the way, that film slaps.
It's by the Kooks, maybe? Midas touch? I'll look it up. Anyway, carry on.
But so Saka, you're not going to take him out of the team in that sort of game state. Havertz, absolutely not. Havertz gives you the height in which you're able to play over the top and for him to kind of hold the ball and act as that release valve. And Martinelli is your quickest player. You have to have speed in that type of game state. So Ødegaard, relative to others, in those scenarios becomes a bit more null and void. And you saw it, he came off. So Ødegaard isn't the most influential in that type of game state. And like I've also alluded to, those games in which there's a lot more running and we are going a little bit more long and we're not looking to play through pressure, we're playing over the top, Ødegaard is not as important as other players. But in order for Arsenal to be more sustainable, Arsenal have to play through pressure more.
Yeah.
They absolutely need to play through pressure more. And the way that they're able to do that at their best is when Ødegaard is able to drop into the pivot or wherever in deeper areas, and he's able to get on the ball and he's able to facilitate play and he's able to dismantle how a team presses. So, yeah.
But then so when people say, name me a number 10 in that way, or sort of a player in Ødegaard's position who is undroppable.
In world football?
In world football. Is there one? Because even De Bruyne has days where Pep sits him down, but he never sits Rodri down. So is it possible in that position, because of the different types of games you're going to play, to have a player who is undroppable? In that
I don't think he would have dropped him. I don't think he would have taken him out of the team. Peak De Bruyne in his peak. I don't think he would have done that in those types of game states. I think De Bruyne would be in that team no matter what. We're looking at De Bruyne now. It's kind of skewing our assessment. Slightly.
Yeah. I think there are teams where people in the chat saying Musiala.
Yeah, but I mean, he didn't start against Aston Villa, didn't he, Musiala? But it's
yeah. This is the thing. I don't watch enough Bayern or whatever to say, but I don't think Musiala starts every single Bayern game. I'll be honest.
Yeah, I don't think he started.
I don't think he did under Tuchel. Certainly.
No, he didn't. He didn't start every game.
And also, we're
talking. I'm talking about when we're talking about peak. Yeah, we're talking about.
We're also talking about. We kind of maybe can only really compare it to the top teams.
Yeah, you can't. There's also, like, for example, Cole Palmer would not be dropped in any sort of game state for Chelsea, but there's a different.
He's not playing those games.
It's a different objective. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So the top tier teams. We're looking at the top tier teams. I'd say peak De Bruyne wouldn't be dropped in any sort of game state. Peak Ozil at his best would be dropped in certain game states.
Yeah.
At his time, I am one of Mr. Ozil's biggest.
And maybe Ødegaard wouldn't be. Maybe Ødegaard wouldn't be dropped because of trust. I think there's another thing as well with Ødegaard is that we always talk about the collective mentality in the team. There's I'd say a good strong proportion, somewhere between, I'd say something like 60 to 80% of football is recruitment. And just getting the right recruitment and, something around that. And then everything else is on top in terms of the tactics, in terms of the team spirit, the preparation, all those are all the sort of 2%, 3%, 1%, whatever it might be, right? I forgot where I was going with that. It was a brilliant point. Hang on.
And I'll just say, I'm reminiscing on peak Ozil. Oh my God, he's one of my favourite ever players.
I had a brilliant point. I've completely forgotten it.
But you can tell it was a brilliant point.
Yeah, Ozil was top.
Oh my God, that was one of my favourite ever players. Like, genuinely, my favourite.
It's completely gone out the window. I've completely blanked. Oh well.
I completely forgot what you're talking about as well. I'll be thinking about Ozil.
Comes to the chat. Nindo, just joined the stream. What is that background? It's Rohan edited into "You Don't Mess with the Zohan." That's what it is. Yeah, I
And
think with
so
Odegaard,
much
look,
game
let's
over.
just to close off that thing. We need more sample. Oh, that was it. That was it. Ødegaard contributes to so many of the one. This isn't a particularly good point. Ødegaard contributes to so many of the 1%, 2% stuff in terms of the team spirit, the leadership, the mentality of the team, the coaching of the team, the embodying what it is to be Arsenal right now. That I think any game states where he's not perfectly right for, you can just take him off. But I think he's still, just because there's a couple of game states where he isn't perfect, I think he still carries that same importance and relevance as a Saka and a Saliba and a Rice, but just in a different way in terms of what he embodies in the team. Maybe there's a couple of games where he isn't perfect for, which I would agree with, or situations where Saka, Rice, and Saliba are. Firstly, I'd argue, is there anyone in that position? You could say Pete De Bruyne, but even then, I think he was being dropped, and that might be about other things. But if we're just talking about pure importance to the team, because of the other stuff he does, the small percentages, I don't know if he can sort of pull alongside them, but in a different way. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I see what you mean. I do think
You don't
there
agree.
is.
Disagree with me now.
No. But I think I've always said that if in terms of the players who I'd be most worried about if they got injured for a prolonged period of time, I'm looking at Bukayo Saka.
But is that more
Saliba.
tactical though than anything else? Because we look at things through a very, tactics are important.
Um,
They're not. I still maintain that recruitment and
I
collective
still
and
I think
buy-in
individual
is,
quality as well. I think individual.
yeah.
It's difficult. It's difficult. I think I stand by the point of if Martin Ødegaard is out for a a lengthy period of time, you will see the impact it has on us.
Yeah, long
You'll
term,
see
long
it.
term.
You know, we faced one team that's more of that kind of mid/lower block. You know, in Southampton, not Southampton, Leicester so far. But what I will say is, I guess we can kind of go into this. Southampton on Saturday. I am desperate. I am desperate for Ethan Nwaneri to start. I am on
Mm,
my knees. I was on my knees against Leicester from the start. I'm on my knees now. He's ready.
yeah,
He's ready.
I love that. I would genuinely love that. Let's come to some questions to finish off the show. Put your questions, super chats, anything you want. Anything you want. Ivan, we go for 2 hours now, mate. We go for, even if United are fumbling a two goal lead. This is TCP live heritage.
We are approaching the time in which I start to lose interest.
Rohan just shuts down. Genuinely, he gets to 2 hours. He's just like this. Saka makes Ødegaard better. I think Ødegaard makes.
I think they both make each other better.
I think they make each other. I mean, you're near a good. Let's not overthink it. You just, if you're near good players, you
Synergy,
get better.
isn't it?
Do you know what I mean?
Synergy,
You just,
yeah,
it's like if you're on a great podcast with your good mate. Do you know what I mean? It just
exactly. It's the cooperative superiority, and I'm hearing a Delit stinker, which is like inject that in my veins now. Inject it.
Mate, Jamie Carragher did some good analysis on him in terms of his decision making against Spurs. There was some poor stuff. Right, let's come to as many comments and questions as we can before we close out the show. The song, if you're wondering, was Razor Light. She's the girl with the golden touch. What did you send me? What song did you send me earlier?
Oh my god, absolute classic. Chat, get ready for this. It's a classic.
Get Lucky by Pharrell Williams. You're up all night to the sun. Like,
it's a classic though, isn't it?
Yeah, but could you get any more basic?
No, but it just popped up randomly.
You like a corporate video from 2015. Like what?
Why are you hating on it? Why are you hating?
It's just like it's like your favorite song being "Happy" by Pharrell Williams.
It's not. Okay. It's not my favorite song. It's just
no. But
it just popped. It popped up in it, and then
what's on your playlist?
The classics bang.
What's on your playlist?
On my playlist?
I didn't even read this comment. Alex is dressed as the guy who dies first in a horror movie. Oh God! Actually, I'm not reading that.
Shall I go to Bollywood? I can go to my Bollywood playlist.
No, don't do Bollywood. What's okay? Give me. Have you got like a I've just got like the songs I'm listening to at the moment playlist. Have you got that?
Okay, I've got
chat. Put your music recommendations in the chat.
I've got No Role Models by J. Cole.
No Role Model. I haven't heard that.
Power Trip by J. Cole.
Power Trip by J. Cole.
She Will, Lil Wayne.
What about you? A lot of rap.
I do like that. Yeah, I do.
Yeah. Anything else?
What? Keep going.
Mine is so white girl coded.
Go on, give me some of yours. Give me some of yours. Go on.
Mine is Chapel Roan, good luck, babe. Slaps, by the way. Good luck, babe. Good luck.
I'm gonna add some of these. I'm gonna listen to them.
Chapel Roan, good luck, babe. No, I remember. You know when you remember a song and you just instantly, oh no, I've got to put them on my playlist. No Tomorrow by Orson. Do you remember that song?
Yeah.
Let's go to a rave and behave like we're tripping. It's so good. And Bright Idea by Orson as well.
I wonder what chat are thinking about my taste.
Bad Chem by Sabrina Carpenter, where she's saying that she thinks she'd have good sex with someone. That's what the song's about. Talk Talk by Charlie XCX featuring Troye Sivan. This is just all white girl music. And Taste by Sabrina Carpenter.
I'm going to give you some more that you're going to listen to. Goosebumps, Travis Scott.
You're looking sharp. You've come so far.
No.
And we know how to make the most of who you are. What a tune.
But I want to look for some like classics that I had. Get Lucky by Daft Punk. It's a sick song though, isn't it? Come on. It's a sick song.
It's not a sick song, is it?
It's a classic, mate. It's an absolute classic.
Kieran52 says best place for food. No, I'm not doing it. Best place for food around the Emirates. It's probably
the staple for me. The staple is Nando's Holloway Road. That's the staple.
Yeah, it's a classic.
Nando's Holloway Road. That's the staple.
Nathan, if you think TCP Live at 1 hour 56 is going to be pure football, you are more than mistaken, my friend.
I mean, I went through quite a lot of deets in the nitty gritty.
Yeah, you go back to about half an hour. Rohan was cooking. He was cooking. Southampton. Southampton predictions. Aaron Ramsdale to have the day of his life. That's what's going to happen.
I feel so bad for him. Don't you?
Why United ass? Because they've signed. Someone said this the other day. It's the perfect summation. Because they've signed slow players, and Ten Hag has asked them to stand really far apart from each other. If you watch United with that in mind,
and he's incredibly bold.
Do you know what? I'm almost certainly going to contradict myself within about 2 podcasts. But I'm going to stop saying bold as an insult. I think it's mean. And no, it's not because I'm going bold. I think it's a bit mean.
No, I'm not saying in a mean way. I'm just saying.
No. I do it. I'm saying we should stop saying it because I realize it's one of the things that you actually can't change, but people get mocked for. And it's mainly men as well. Men will laugh it off, but they don't always mean that.
I'm sad now.
Oh, yeah, I feel like I've no. I do it though. My point is that I do it.
No. I think what's worse is slaphead's worse.
Yeah, that's hard.
Calling someone slaphead, that's like bad. That's bad.
Anmol says, I feel you on Chapel Roan. I was like, let's see what happens about ending up blasting it at the gym for an hour. Anmol, you're my guy.
Listen,
man.
Honestly, I've got my Bollywood mix as well. Bollywood mix.
You what?
Slaps. My Bollywood mix.
Chapel Roan, stick her on. Good tunes. I think she got cancelled or something the other day because she said that she didn't want to endorse either political party, which is just so funny. Classic politics. I'm not getting involved. Well, you're not allowed to do that. Okay. What?
Oh my god.
Kieran52
predictions.
Kieran, why have you put me? Who's been your signing of the season? I can't. It's been going so. We're going so long. I can't even speak anymore. Who's been our signing of the season? Arsenal and non-Arsenal. Okay. Tell you who I like. Renato Vega at Chelsea. Trust me. He's a 360 footballer, and he reminds me of Nuno Tavares with a brain. Good player.
Well, I mean, for us, we've not really seen much of our new signings, but we're in Calafiori, really. We've seen a bit of Sterling as well. I'm not going to look at Arsenal. In terms of other teams, I think Savio's looked really good for City.
Oh, yeah, he has. So annoying. Oh, we're Man City. We signed players who are really good. Yeah, well done.
From their sister club, which they only spent 10 million apparently. 10 million.
Oh. We've got so many players, we can loan them all out. Why don't we do that?
I think what other players that's a little bit more bougie. A bit more bougie pick.
Ben and Bougie.
I'm trying to think.
David Roy?
Minter for Brighton's looked really good.
Yeah. Chat saying Timo Werner. Oh, mate, if we're going outside the Premier League, Elise.
Yeah, Elise's cooking.
Bro, he's cooking. Right, we're 10 seconds away from hitting 2 hours, which we're going to shut down. Final thoughts,
predictions first, no?
Oh, yeah, we've got to do predictions.
Should we quickly do our lineup as well?
Yeah, let's do that. David Roy.
You say yours. Yep, agree.
Well, it depends if White or Timber are fit.
Let's assume both are fit. Let's assume.
If I'm assuming both are fit, I'll play Benjamin White because we're going to be against them in a low block, and they're going to put about 4 players on Saka. Trust me. So we need all the help we can get. I would go probably. I think I'd go with Saliba. No, I think I'd go with Saliba. Probably Gabriel. Probably Gabriel. Rohan's just like, get on with it, mate.
Attention span is decreasing as every second goes.
I would go Timber because I don't think Calafiori is going to have the spaces that he wants against Southampton, who are going to be sat in a low block. I think this. Yeah. I think this whole thing about what would I go with Calafiori? I don't know. Maybe we'll just.
I think we need a left. Well, it depends on who's your left sided midfielder. That will.
Well, this is the thing. I would, if Marino's fit, I'd start Marino.
Okay, I think that can work.
We'd help out. So if Marino's fit, I'd start Timber because I'm not sure Calafiori is going to have the influence. I think I'd probably bring him on the second half, the influence that he's going to have in other games. I would play a midfield 3 of Mikel Merino, Declan Rice, and I would go with Ethan Waneri. That's what I would do. And I would
the buzz at the stadium when he came on. The buzz in the stadium when he came on, and the first action. Oh my god, ridiculous!
He's a star. And I would go with Bukayo Saka probably on the right hand side. I would go with Kai Havertz up top, and I would start that Cabia bloke on the left foot. Now I'd start Martinelli.
I'd go for the same team, but I would have Calafiori at left back.
Well, you're wrong, so that's fine. Predictions?
You're also dozing enough as well.
Yeah, I'm done. I'm absolutely done.
I've got a feeling it's going to be a pasting.
Yeah, I think it's going to be like 6.
I'm going 6-0. I'm going 6-0.
I think it's going to be 6. Maybe 6. Right, we'll finish there.
It feels so bad for Rams.
Thanks, everyone. You're looking good. You're looking sharp. You've come so far. Someone give me a recording contract. I'm sick of this podcast life. I want to be a star on the big stage, on the big screen.
You want to be a star?
Yeah,
the star of the show.
No, it's your podcast, babe. Thank you for joining us. No, we're here every Thursday at 7 p.m. For the CannonpodLive Live. We're back for the instant reaction on when's the game? Saturday.
I'll be there.
We've got a great pod dropping for you on Tuesday. Start of a new initiative on the Cannon. So you've got to sign up as a Patreon or YouTube member to get that. Monday main podcast Monday will be early because I'm recording it on Sunday. Normal stuff. People are calling for touch balls. I think we give them touch balls on CannonpodLive Live? I think it should be your call.
Fine.
We'll close out the show. Touch balls. Thank you all for being here. Appreciate you being here. We'll be back. Make sure you subscribe. Why should people subscribe to the Cannon Podcast, Rohan? Just quickly.
So the Cannon Podcast is iterating to another level. We are iterating and iterating and iterating. More content, more variety in content. This is the time now. This is the time. Arsenal at their best. If you love us, if you love Alex, if you love George, you absolutely should.
And they love you, Rohan. They're all here for you, Bebs. They're all here for you.
They're all there for you and George.
For all of us and all of you in the chat. Thank you all for being here. Appreciate you being here. And to close us out, you know what time it is.
in you don't like to touch balls, so I love it. So yeah, come. You don't like to touch balls. You don't like to touch balls. Touch balls. Touch balls. Touch. You don't like to touch balls. 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 So I love it. 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 The Korean guy, and so I love it. 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 You don't like to touch balls?